All right, man. Anything else you need or want before we go live? You want to, or rather, before we put your face on camera, before we
I was say
introduce you,
you've been
before we,
live for like 4 minutes,
yeah,
so
before we
we gotta
before
figure
we
that
tell
out.
everybody who the fuck these disembodied voices are.
Let's do it. Believe I'm good to go.
Cool.
I ain't gonna look any better anytime soon, so let's just get it going.
I think you should give yourself more credit, you handsome devil.
Well, I ain't gonna look any worse then. All right, how about that?
Okay, you know what? That is a very good pivot that I will accept. Oh no! Oh, I need to full screen your. Oh, I need to go back to your
Oh, I'm
video
super
call.
small. Ooh, I like that.
Bow!
Look at that. Look at that
What's
great.
up, beautiful?
I was gonna say, look at that great work. First off, I feel at home now. Now all the pressure's
Jupiter's
off. Now that I
Bert's
didn't start
here.
off great.
Wow, check out all your homies, bro. What's up, everybody? Cheers, by the way. I'm gonna light this blunt.
What's up, everybody? Oh, are we
Welcome
doing the
to
thing?
yeah. I'm just gonna do the thing. I'm gonna pause this fucking lo-fi. Welcome everybody. In the spirit of the talk show title, we're gonna get high. We're gonna smoke some weed. So if you out there and you smoke weed, pack your bowl. Open your windows, light your blunts, get your lighters, do your dabs, and let's get Stony Baloney Post Maloney. Do you listen to Post Malone?
A little bit. Have been starting to. Well, back before the whole, should I say, DMCA fun fiasco.
Oh
I
no
listened
shit.
to. I used to have a nice little chill playlist, and really helped me get a broader horizon of other music that other people were listening to. Like, oh, dude, you don't know this, but you don't know Kid Cudi, you don't know this. Like, oh shit, I don't. Like, so it
Yeah.
really made me think outside the box when it came to music. It was really nice.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Well, and you'll hear this a lot tonight or today. Everybody will, but I'm a bit, relatively speaking, newer to the stoner community. Right, I started smoking in late 2016, early 2017.
Oh
So it's
wow,
only
you
been a
are.
few years. Yeah. But as you can tell, it's taken my life by storm. A lot of the stuff we talked about off stream in terms of it bringing positive effects, that we'll go into a little bit later, have really changed my life in a lot of positive ways. Right, I've embraced a lot of outside of what my normal box would be ways of thinking and
New
viewing the
experiences
world. Right,
otherwise you would have shied away
right,
from.
right.
Absolutely.
And I'm dealing with my anxiety in better and more healthier ways. It's pretty cool.
And
It's
that's
pretty
really
cool.
what we always want to say is it's self medication.
Right.
It's a way that we be a better version, we believe, of ourselves that'll get us to try new things or experience new things in a positive outlook.
Right.
And
Well
that's the
said.
reason we're trying to highlight it.
Well, and a big thing for me was I grew up Southern Baptist, right?
Okay.
And
That's interesting.
yeah, it made a big difference. And I grew up in a household that was drugs and weed and everything is bad. And if you do these things, not only are you a bad person, but you're going straight to hell.
Right. So
You're
you
going
you saw what would happen
right
with it, the whole 9 yards. Okay.
straight to hell. So when I was 20, when I
God, I
was in
couldn't
my late
imagine.
20s, and I got a little bit more information. I tried weed, and it made me question everything else. Everything else that I had learned growing up, I was like, well, this fixes everything. This solves everything, right? I got that hyper millennial ADHD that slows down enough just for me to fucking think. I got the fucking the anxiety that makes me want to stay in bed all day every day. And then I smoked some weed. I was like, wow, I'm like chill, bro. Like I feel good inside, and this has never
Right.
happened before. What do I do? So yeah, that was a big thing. It made a big difference in my life, and so it
Love
caused me
hearing that shit.
to kind of question everything. Yeah, well, and that's apparently a pretty big cliche with weed, which I get because like it is that kind of revolutionary, and we've been taught, especially as Americans,
Well, there's been
that
a stigma on it for so long that
right.
we're just now breaking out, seeing
Thanks,
the
Richard
clouds part
Nixon.
where people are saying like, "Oh shit," and yeah, they're actually getting their own opinions of it before they're just had everybody else's opinion, which was you have to have your own. You have to
Exactly.
actually. I don't want to say it's for you. Try it, kids. I'm just saying,
Right.
if you ever listen to everybody, like no,
Right.
what? Everybody has their own experience with it.
Right,
Yeah, so.
right. And I think everybody should try smoking at least once. And this is a beautiful segue for something very important. We need to do a bit of a disclaimer here in the stream, especially because we're live, and so that I can put it on the video later. Is that the show, myself and I'm assuming X-Ray here, doesn't we don't endorse any sort of underage smoking or consumption. Be safe and have fun. To those of you who can legally, please follow all your local laws and restrictions in regards to weed and alcohol and everything that we'll be talking about today. It's important that we are being safe, and also following the rules, which is kind of what the whole point of our conversation today is going to be.
At this point, I agree with Bowborne 100%. Kids, obviously, over 18 for most everything, 21 for other things, but yeah, it's
and Jupiter is 100% onto something. It does hurt your brain. I think it is as of late stage adolescence, so between 18 and 21 is whenever your brain is fully
I started
developed.
smoking as of 24. I was like
Yeah,
in my 20s, but
right.
also like to point out, I don't think that you mentioned it, but it's also good at this point. I'm also a native to California, where it is now residential and recreational, medically legal, which I actually have my medical card, but we're not going to get
Nice.
into that. But it's one of those,
Discounts.
if it wasn't really statewide recognized, I really wouldn't be
Right,
socially smoking
right.
as a thing. And that's another thing we'll probably end up talking about. But because it
Absolutely it
is
is, yeah.
a legal recreational activity in my state, I don't feel there's any reason I can't relax in a weird COVID environment where I'm really not allowed to leave the house and interact with a friend of mine across, states.
Right, right. Well said, well said. And as most people know, I live in Colorado. I'm pretty outward about that. The biggest question I get is, "Oh, do you smoke a lot of weed because you live in Colorado?" And I hate the cliche questions, but more so, I hate answering yes reluctantly to the cliche
True,
questions like, "Yes, I
right?
do smoke buckets and buckets of weed nonstop." Hey, Bruff, thank you for subbing, dude. Tier 2, holy shit, that's my first Tier 2 sub ever.
Congrats, buddy.
Thanks,
I will
man.
say the person that asks you if you smoke weed is a kindred spirit. A Christian person that
Sometimes.
doesn't give a fuck is most likely not going to ask you off your first.
No,
You
they're just going
smoke
to
weed,
assume.
bro?
Yeah, they're just
They're
going to
just gonna be
assume
like, all
that
right,
I'm one of them
they're not
Colorado
gonna, no,
devils.
they're not gonna try to find that as a connection and be like, all right, because they're hearing Colorado and they're hearing some. I might have that in common with a person, whether it be
Hmm.
a sport or a music. That's just a recreation activity they might want to talk about with you, just like we're about to.
Right,
Lot of
right.
lot of content to mine there. So
It's true. It's true. It's so true. Just thought that popped into my head. I want to get out there that we, just out in the universe. I wonder if there's any correlation between, and Jupiter is what inspired this. I wonder if there's any correlation between states where weed
it's
is
already working.
recreationally legal. Wow, that's a good point. And their overall state happiness.
I almost think I mean, statistically,
There
you'd
has to
want
be,
to
right?
think so,
There has to be.
but I know we could probably look at the tax revenue from all the people that have taxed it, and that shit makes it all them smile and
Yes,
happy
dude.
too. So,
Yes,
I
yo.
mean, we know it's not making them sadder, right? Like, if the
Good
business
point.
isn't profiting, we're not growing
Good point.
exponentially because we're so man, I'm smoking the ganj, man. No,
Oh,
it's not
not the
like
devil's
taxes, it's
lettuce.
not DMV. No, it's the good shit. So, I would naturally assume if the industry is growing, then the happiness is definitely there.
Sure, sure. And that's a beautiful way to elaborate on the idea, too. I think that, and we can just put a pin in it like tax dollars, too, right? Colorado, what was it, Oregon and Washington were like the first big three that kind of did the thing. I bet you all of those other governors were like looking through all the tax documents and they were looking through like all the news and they're like, they get to this one report, they take off the glass. Colorado and Washington made how much money? Oh shit, Oregon too? Okay. Phone!
Well,
Give me
I
the phone!
I don't. I wish I had it. I wish I looked it up so I had more research. Like I
You know
don't know
what?
how many
Stand by.
recreational
What do you
states.
want me to Google, homie? We're prepared for
How
this.
many states right now are recreational marijuana? Because I
Okay.
believe last I checked, 33 are medical out of the 50, which means
Oh shit.
CBD is allowed, not necessarily THC, but CBD is sold in state. So that's more than half of the
True.
states that are allowing some form of cannabis to float across their state.
Big shout out to autocorrect.
Dude, I don't know how people live now without dude,
Especially
so
when I'm stoned,
I know
bro.
how to
Stony
speak, but
baloney.
man, I forgot how to type on some words, I
No
do
shit.
swear.
What's up, Iron Fletcher? Good to see you. So Iron Fletcher says in chat, my store pays over $100,000 a month in taxes. So Iron, for reference, works in the cannabis industry.
Okay. I
And
actually know a
I
couple
figured,
people that do. That's interesting.
okay, cool. I figured that was like not. I figured that was free use information since the dude says my store pays over 100K in taxes. It's like,
Right.
I'm not like doxing this guy. He started it.
Well,
So
100K is meaning that's in taxes. We're not talking about profits.
right,
Profits is there for order the taxes to be
right,
there. So
and that's one store. And I can tell you that in Colorado, at least, there are cities where pretty much the city's entire what is it measured in GDP for cities? So what's the standard of wealth for a city? Is it GDP?
I
Check it out.
right,
Check it out. Google.
probably.
What's the standard of wealth for a city? Welcome, X-Ray, to the reason I started this show. Okay, standard of living definition. Oh man, there's just so many.
To promote Google, like
Not yeah, right. Weird unrelated flex. If you're looking to get into the IT industry, Google has a Google IT professional certification that you can get on various websites for various amounts of money, relatively cheap. And it's like a whole ass, hey, how to be an IT person degree in like 4 months. So I know this comes out of nowhere, but Google kind of really stepped up on teaching people things. And it's pretty fucking cool, man. Like, in terms of an overlord, I'm pretty happy with what I give them versus what they give me sort of situation for Google, you know?
and then it just helps us say if you don't enjoy the show and you didn't really learn anything, you learned something there. Thank you
Google.
so much, Bowborne.
Yeah,
Go
thanks, man.
Google.
Exactly, bro. I could have said it better myself. And, that's going to devolve and happen more frequently the farther we make it into this blunt. So, part of me was really excited to see what this was going to be like in terms of us starting out sober, relatively speaking, and seeing how things progressed the more and more Stony
Seeing if
Baloney
we
we got.
devolve as we
Right,
continue. Oh
right.
yeah. See if we can Doug Benson this shit out and be professional. If we're gonna be like, bro, I don't fucking know.
Bro, and then just giggle, and then it's gonna be 30 minutes of giggling. Thank you,
I
thank
can
you,
giggle a little bit.
Lightworks. Yeah. Okay, so in chat, Jupiter brings up a good point. Says you can buy THC legal. It's just a different type, isn't it? Like THC 9 versus 12 or some shit. Hey, look, an ashtray. Do you know anything about that? Different types of THC.
Looking at this map here. Well, I know about more about the edible difference more than the smokable, but and then all the different types in just there's the different types of fucking 3-letter acronyms that are in weed nowadays.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't
So
know
Iron
like
Fletcher says
THC 9.
Delta
That's a
9 and
whole new
12.
thing to me. Yeah, that's different. Not enough that I'd want to talk about it. Not at all.
This is why one of the biggest reasons I respect you so much is you're one of the first people that I ran into, at least on Twitch, that used the phrase, I don't know enough of the information to talk about this subject with you. And quite frankly, and this is the important part, quite frankly, I don't give enough fucks about it to look it up right now.
Like, do you want me to bullshit you for 5 minutes and have someone else later go, all that is absolutely wrong? Or Troy just be like, I don't know a lot about that. And be like, the biggest thing you should do is admit when you don't know something.
Right.
So many people just go, yes.
Word.
When you're saying something, go, hey, do you know that? And they go, yeah.
Right.
And they absolutely don't.
Right.
And they could just say no and educate themselves in something. Or they could just say, I don't know what that is. And not bullshit my way, which I've had so many fucking friends do. And then I'm like, halfway through going, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, dude. Nope. Okay, cool.
Right.
And I have to call you on it.
Yeah. Well, that's one of my favorite things to do when I'm in large social groups. So, funnily enough, my friend Iron Fletcher in chat there, I know him in real life, and when we hang out, sometimes he'll pick up on that too if somebody's just bullshitting, and it happens to him all the time, especially in the weed business. People will bullshit him. And I've been at his job watching him work, which is a lot less creepier than it sounds, and I've seen him been talking to customers who try to bullshit him, and then he'll just talk them into a fucking corner where he'll ask them a question where they're damned if they answer and they're damned as fuck if they don't answer.
Like,
And
yeah,
yeah,
shit.
and just the moment of pure joy that he gets, and then
Like,
he gets the
cool, you don't know what
coyest
you're talking
smile,
about.
the coyest
Yep.
smile, just all teeth and everything, and you're like, wow, bro, what a I love it, I love it, I absolutely love it.
Well, so most people will say they know everything about weed and THC.
Right?
There's so
How, bro?
much
How?
out there
Right?
that we don't know. We're still learning. That's still bias. That's still opinion. And it's what I love is we don't have a lot of facts, but we
Right.
are gaining more facts and getting more aware of what really this is, and not being so scared to be open to talk about it as a platform.
Beautiful.
Most of the like content creators I know that are influencers, that are the people I know, are not like just sitting here smoking and doing like, oh, I'm high. Like, I know people that become partner on Twitch because I smoked a blunt, follow for follow, come chill. It's like, cool, man, you did your thing.
Yeah,
But
I didn't.
most people I know are doing awareness,
Yeah,
are bringing
just like saying,
like
hey,
just information
yeah.
to the platform, answering, fielding questions, talking about it, letting them know, hey, I'm a mom, or hey,
Oh, those are big. Yeah.
I'm a kid at this, or hey, I'm a granddad, or I'm a doctor that does this. I'm an acupuncturist. I'm not a fucking criminal.
I'm a
I'm
person.
not
I'm a
an
I'm a fucking
ex-con,
person
right?
just
I
like
am
you,
a
bro.
human being. I'm
Right.
your next door neighbor.
Well said.
I'm your fucking brother. Like, I'm just you. That I could be you. I'm you happy right now. That's what I'm the
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
should be right now. I feel so good about myself. I hope you
Mm-hmm.
one day feel as good as I do
That's
right
a
now.
good way to put it. I'm you, but every time my brain encounters adversity, instead of hitting a spiral of downward trajectory and anxiety, I think about the bright side, right? Like I giggle at shit when I drop a. Oh my god! The other day, I was cooking. I cook up a storm, and I dropped the lemon pepper, and it hit the floor, and the top flew off. Boom! And just a fucking cloud and wave of lemon pepper hit the fucking wall, like dust in here, and I like coughing and shit. It's a mess. And I was stoned as a motherfucker, bro. And I just stood there and stared for a second because, you know, when you're that stoned, everything takes a second to process. You're like,
Okay.
okay, let's make sure this is actually what's happening. And then in my brain, I go over what happened, and then I was like, yeah, no, that thing is that mess is there, and that's your fault. And then
I did that.
right. Well, and you know, this is a bit personal, but this is, you know, a place to have conversation, and it helps for context. But when I was growing up, before I was smoking, I had a bit of an anger problem, right? Like I got mad at things really fast. It didn't really impact the way that I didn't project that anger outward very often, you know, in like physical or mean ways. But like I got mad fast. And I that's the biggest thing I noticed a huge difference about when I was smoking was that I just don't get mad at shit anymore, and everything is just funnier. Everything is funnier. Um,
Can I ask were you just mad before? Did you have any kind of did you like, did you have to
like
hit
generally
walls, or
speaking, no,
would you
no.
generally get in fights, or would you just be like upset and be like, I'm just so fucking pissed off all the goddamn time
Oh, I see
and I
what you
have
mean.
no way to release? Like, there was like
On my
before you
lows,
had cannabis, yeah, what did you do then?
on my lows, because it wasn't an all the time thing. I wasn't just like walking around
Right. I get you.
seething.
Yeah, you're
And
well,
there are
other than
folks
being
that
like a
are right,
teenager, which we're
right,
just, we're fucking
right,
hormonal. I get that.
or your
Right.
early 20s where everything sucks and you're like, wow, this is nowhere
And I
near
don't
what
see you
all of
as
these
that
people
alpha
planned.
male person that's an issue. So
Well, the
yeah, I
funny
can
thing
see you
is
being
is
generally mad.
that's totally a post weed bow kind of thing. Not that I was kind of the alpha male type before, but I definitely was dominated by those tropes, by the typical shackles of masculinity. Oh, that was fucking. I'm gonna put that in a book, dude. Shackles of
That was good.
masculinity. Thank
That's the
you.
cover right there. That's
Oh,
at least a
band
bad
name,
cover.
band name. Yes, great minds, bro. I had a great one the other day. You want to hear it? It was
Always.
Cunnilingus in the Oval Office, and we decided that was gonna be an album title.
I mean, I don't know if I would buy it, but if I was walking by at the store, it would at least be like,
It'd get your
wait,
attention, wouldn't it?
what did that say? Hey, babe. Wait, we might have to check this out.
And
Like,
then
yeah,
and then you find out like it's a grunge punk band, and you're like, okay, I see you, respect, and you're like,
right. I'd
I'm,
have to at least check the back cover and like, wait, do they have anything that might be good?
and
Let me
then
see.
you fucking spiral, and then you're like, oh, I love that song title. Let me go ahead and scan this on the little hickey do thing over here with
Although
the.
That is a very bad representation of 2021. I don't remember the last time I've been in a store doing this shit
Oh,
in
fair,
forever.
fair.
It's been
That joke did
it'd
not
be
age well.
Spotify, like, going
Oh
through.
fuck! Oh, you know what I'll do is I'll just get a poster that goes on the big
If
glass
I'm
window.
walking through looking at a
Cunnilingus
CD,
in the Oval
something's
Office. A
wrong.
little
Yeah, that's some
Spotify
shit.
code on the fucking billboard where you just scan. Have you seen those Spotify codes that you just scan and it sends you to the song? It's like a QR code but for sound.
Oh, that's that sounds cool. I
That's
just
some
figured out what
futuristic
that
shit,
little
huh?
iPhone thing, the little white sticker did, man. Don't even talk to me
Wait,
about
what are you
that's been
talking
around
about? Oh,
forever.
wait, what are you talking about? What white sticker?
That little white sticker that'll send you to like a page that gives you information about a product. Like it's little white tab squares on all my fucking products that you like
Oh,
swipe
the
with your
QR
iPhone.
codes. QR
I
codes.
never had an iPhone for the long or even like a smartphone. So I
Are
always had a
you
flip phone. So I'm
X-ray? Are
always
you
like,
a
what the fuck was
technology
that?
caveman?
Um, you don't did you not know I lived in the woods for like 5
Well,
years?
no, see, you briefly mentioned it while you're live, but I didn't I've never really asked questions. I didn't feel like that was the proper time or place. Hey, you're trying to chase down these noobs in this horror video game. Why don't you spill the beans about your off the grid lifestyle
I
for
get
me?
that.
I mean, I get it. You
It's
love
one
the
of the main
engagement
reasons I
and
feel like I stream and create content now though. So I think it's interesting as like said fuck people for like
how
5
was
years.
smoking weed? Were you smoking weed when you did that?
Oh yeah, that's one of the main reasons I went out there. So
Just say
it
fuck
was
everybody.
just
Let's get
about
a
the time
reset.
I was smoking, and I needed a break from society, from just
We
what
get
I
that.
said, like government, just like around me, and I was just like the 9 to 5 broke me, where I was just like, dude,
Okay.
what is the point?
You
Like I
felt
was
the
going to
crunch of the
school,
man.
but like I had a business that like dropped out my support, and I was just like I felt alone. I was
Yeah.
like, what else do I do? Like, fuck it, I'm gonna go in the
If I
woods and
feel
I'm gonna just
alone, I'm
smoke
gonna
and
fucking
work
be alone.
and
I see.
survive,
Okay.
and I just didn't think I needed anybody. And I figured out I really missed people. That
Yeah.
was what was crazy.
Was that like the
I
biggest
got my
surprising part?
alone out of the way. It was the biggest thing that was great. Like I didn't really talk to myself, but
I would,
it
bro.
was
That's the whole reason I
um
stream. I
a
just talk
little
to
bit.
myself all the time.
I didn't talk like this. This was a streaming thing.
Oh,
People
really?
freak out. This is new.
Oh, really?
Just
Wow.
keeping a
So folks
conversation
who knew
and
you
keeping dead
IRL
air
before all of this, they're like,
a
"Who the
little bit.
fuck is this guy?"
Or people that even know me as like a neighbor will go, they
Are
have
you
me over for
sure?
dinner and go, why aren't you X-ray blacksmith? Why aren't you on right now? Why
Ah.
aren't you? And it's like, dude, because you didn't shut the fuck up for 20 minutes. Did you want me to interrupt you? Like I was listening to you. Like shit. Like I'm having we're at dinner now. Like I just talked for 8 hours, 5 days in a row. I'm here
hmm
to shut up for a little bit. So yeah,
That's funny.
it's
That's
different.
so interesting to. So do you think what's it going to be like in Hawaii then? Or is it going to be an X-ray for 2 weeks? Kind of. Is that going to be exhausting, or is it going to be like a ebb and
That's
flow
funny
kind of
you
thing?
say that. I think about that. The last time I saw somebody was like 3 or 4 months ago. It was a Karma Crew homie up in Fresno, and I did feel a little bit like I had to be on while I
Well,
was there. Like I was like, do I have to be? I just couldn't be like, "What's up, bro? We're here." Like I had to be I had to, "Hey, what's up?" I gotta make it loud. Like I had to be it. I had to be the guy, you know.
yeah, you had to be
Um,
okay, all right. Well, so how'd
but
you feel
that's
after?
me, and that's what's funny, is
Okay.
it's me, but I'm not usually like that in public. Like,
Oh, I
that's
see.
me, that's my publicness when I was a kid. I grew out of that shit, but that
Oh,
is me at a
really?
core. That was how I was, but when you got told so many times, "Fucking stop it. Hey,
Fair.
no one cares. No one cares." And it's like, "All
Yeah,
right,
that's fair.
shut up. I'll shut up."
Just
Then one day I do it like this is me now being able to just be myself. I'm actually myself every day, and I get to have people show up still. And that blows my mind because I don't want to be around me every day sometimes, but people do. And that's crazy to me. So that's what's yeah. If you're ever fucking word, go live in the woods, y'all. 5 years and you'll be great. Smoke a lot. Think
well,
about
I
it.
have friends. I have friends in the chat even who have spent years of their life in the middle of the woods, living in like a teepee, kind
Nice.
of thing. Yeah, yeah, and they talk often about the. I guess I wouldn't say often, but when we were growing up, they talked often about the pluses and minuses to it, the upsides and downsides to it. And it always made
Yeah.
me wonder, like, how would I do? I would go nuts because I'm 100% a social animal. The person I am when I'm streaming is the person when I am when I'm not streaming in the privacy of my own home and in the fucking grocery store, much to the dismay of many of my previous partners. My last long-term girlfriend hated it when we'd go out places and
Oh,
I would just
yeah,
talk
I
to
get
every single
attention.
person in every single line. And like, I'll give you an example. So the most recent, I went to Costco when I first moved up here, and I had a friend with me before COVID was like really fucking killing people, and
Okay.
we went to Costco and we're standing in line. I have a Green Bay Packers mask on. I'm one of those football boys, and this lady comes up to me and she started it in fairness, but I just rolled with it and we went. She's like, "You a Packers fan?" And I said, "Let me guess, a Bears fan." And she's like, "How'd you know?" But then we just like razzed each other randomly. I'd never met this Karen. She was 100% the type too, right? The short bob haircut and like the flick and the fucking corgi in a purse or whatever it is. And we just fucking, you don't know what a Karen is?
No idea. I've never told anybody. I don't know what the
Okay.
fuck that
Well,
is,
first of
bro.
all, I think it's important for me to
I live under a
recognize
rock,
your
okay?
bravery here for
Uh,
admitting something you didn't know. I know we just talked about that, but way to be an immediate example. So a Karen references. So have you ever worked in retail?
no.
Okay.
I get there's supposed to be a type, like the complainer or
How
something,
often
like
do
the...
you talk about your job pretty often? So can I just say what you do?
Sure.
Okay, so you work in landscaping, right? Um,
Right?
so have you ever just had a customer come out of the house, middle-aged white lady who was just really pissed off about something that you did, and it was pretty unfair, like either you didn't do the thing or you did exactly what they asked you to do, or basically this person just treated you like garbage for literally no reason, or something that you didn't do wrong?
Sure. That's life.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a Karen. That's a Karen is in reference to somebody. So like the lady at
Man,
the
poor
grocery store,
Karens. They get
dude.
what? Man, anyone
Yes,
named
I think
Karen,
about
that
that all the time,
sucks.
dude.
Oh,
I think I'm
I
so
had no
that keeps me.
idea.
So
That sucks.
the last time
Heck.
I went on like a psychedelic trip, I just spiraled for probably 45 minutes about like, wow, life must really suck for
Like
people
fucking
named Karen.
Karens in
Yes,
2020, dude.
yeah.
Right? Like, god damn. Like,
But the
imagine
point
like
is,
2018 new parents like, I
yes.
fucking named her Karen.
God
Like,
damn
oh
it!
my god,
They're at the
why would they
courthouse
do
right
that?
now filing for fucking legal name changes.
It's
Like,
not Karen, it's Karan.
it's
It's totally
corrupt.
different.
Well, yeah, but maybe you're not going to want to make that adjustment if you live anywhere
Yeah,
in this whole
yeah,
southern,
that's right.
the
Yeah,
southern
that's
section
right.
right
Yeah.
here.
That's
The
not right.
yeah, no,
Which
bro,
one's
like
worse anymore? Fucking goddamn.
so Karen is just in reference to a grumpy lady who's going to ask for the manager. Um,
Oh, so Karen and Chad. Okay, I get
Yes,
the
Chad.
okay,
Chad is the
now
male equivalent.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Okay,
no,
that
that's
makes
not
more
necessarily
sense.
true. Richard is
I
the
thought
male
Chad was
equivalent.
more like
So Chad,
pompous.
yeah. So Chad is more like the frat boy douchebag who you're
Like I have
definitely gonna keep
money.
an eye on, and
Right.
when you get a drink and go to the bathroom and hand it to somebody, be like, nudge that person and be like, "Hey, watch out for Chad over there." Right? Like that's Chad.
I didn't
That's
know Chad was that bad.
yeah,
Okay, good
Chad's
enough.
bad. Chad's
Oh, I didn't know.
dude,
Okay.
Chad is in reference to okay. Let me put it this way: on TikTok, and yeah, I'm on TikTok. We'll go into that whole other thing some other time. But on TikTok, Chad is like the guy that the stereotypical like. Do you see American Pie? The movie. Sorry, your mic cut
Yeah.
off. Okay,
Sorry.
Stifler.
Yeah.
Stifler is Chad.
What?
Yeah,
No.
yeah, that's Chad. And so
That's Chad?
that's in reference to the straight white boy that nobody gives a fuck about, and quite frankly, we're a bit
No,
tired
you're
of.
right. That is Chad.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's a good representation of Chad. Yeah.
Yeah, but Richard would be the male equivalent of Carrie. Yeah, well, I feel very fortunate. I'm connected to the youths. My little brother is like 14, 15. So I get a inside scoop on the lingo. And because his brain never stops, both a gift and a curse, I have to constantly consume media or else I'm just fucking bored and talking to myself. So yeah, I'm on TikTok and like that's typically a younger crowd. There's a TikTok the other day that started with if you're one of the older members of TikTok, I'm talking late 90s, early 2000s, and I went I lost my fucking mind. But yeah, no, there's this whole new world of like like hip nicknames that we use for folks to pretty much instantly classify them as a person with one word, in this case, names. And it's pretty all encapsulating. And the scariest part is it could be pretty accurate.
Okay.
Boomer, did you see the whole "Okay Boomer" trend? Did you catch that one?
Dude, I don't go on any of these goddamn rides, man. Dude, did I not just explain I live in the woods? Does it sound like I give a fuck about any of this
No,
shit?
bro.
Like, no, like I love people, but as far as like the nah, man, that shit goes, man. I could give a fuck. I could give a fuck.
That sounds like the way to live, man. No, for me, it's a pursuit of knowledge kind of thing. I don't like being in situations where somebody says something. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? And I noticed that when I was growing up, that was a big thing that happened for adults when we were kids, is we were using lingo and words that nobody fucking knew what it meant around us. So I was like, man,
I
I'm
do
not,
have a question.
I'm not gonna be one of those old people. What's that, man?
So you were talking about, I'm gonna kind of go roll back to the beginning a little bit.
Yeah,
You
let's
were talking
digress.
about let's digress a little bit because I still have I have unfinished
Send it.
business
This
with your
is this is
beginning
why
story here.
I love to have guests, because you help keep me on
Um,
track.
you talked about you grew up in a, more conservative household and didn't really start smoking until what, 2016, 2017.
Right.
I want to know what first, why? What was the reason that out of all the time you're like, all right, I'm gonna smoke this? Or was it just like,
That's a good
was it
question.
like a day? Was it like, oh, Bruff was here and you're like, he just hands you the thing, you're like, fuck it. And it's like, yeah, I want to know, like, what's that day like for you?
It's funny you mention that, because there have been situations where Bruff has brought something up or shown me something, and I'm like, yeah, okay. But it was not weed. So weed was one of those things where I didn't do for the stigma that we had talked about earlier growing up, but also just because I didn't have any interest and I didn't really know what life was like on this side of things in terms of being able to think straight, and not feel the anxiety and the pressure and all the stuff we talked about it helps with. So it wasn't something that really called to me. There
But
was
that's why I was curious. I was curious if you wanted to go for that or
right,
if that's
right.
why you like, yeah.
So in 2014, I quit my job because I was a store manager at GameStop, and that was just buckets of stress. Um, and I had decided to go back to school and stream.
Too many people wanting more money for fucking Super Mario or something?
Too many people who were really pissed off about the fact that I wanted to give them $3 for their stuck to the side of their Xbox disc only version of Army of Two, of which I already had 16 copies of, bro. Like, yeah, yeah.
Got it.
So
How dare you not
yeah,
give me more
right,
money? Okay,
right.
okay.
So I just got tired of it, and I was in like one of the more dangerous cities in our state, and which is hilarious to say to me. But so things got bad. Like I'm talking about robberies and like over in burglaries, and it was just too much stress to handle for less than $30K a year, no benefits. And I was like, okay, fuck this. I'm gonna go back to school and be an EMT, and I was married at the time. So, my wife worked in healthcare. So even though the topic of weed had come up, it had quickly been shot down, and we can't have weed in this house because I work in healthcare. I was like, okay. So it just never was a possibility. And then there was a day where one of my old friends, was visiting my brother who lived in the next apartment over from me. That's actually Torgoth in chat. He and the wife and kids were out, and Torgoth was there, and a mutual friend was going to his house, and they're like, hey, I'm gonna go over to Torgoth's house, you want to come over? I'm gonna smoke some weed. And I was like, I wasn't working, and I was streaming, and I had all my homework done, and I wasn't streaming that day. I said, yeah, I will come over and try some weed. This motherfucker rolls up into the house with a bag of, I shit you not, 15 McDoubles, 40 chicken nuggets, and 3 large fries, and a whole bunch of weed. So we sit on the couch and we get real stony baloney, and we watch movies or talk or whatever. I honestly don't remember, and it was pretty cool. And it was a
So
really
it's
cool.
basically, and that's what's funny is it sounds like it was lack of options.
Yeah, lack of, well, and this was in like 2014, so that was a cool day. I told my wife about it when she came home, and she flipped the fuck out. Just flipped the fuck out. Like,
Oh,
yo,
did you?
I
Very
can't
important.
believe you.
He smoked at your house, or did you go over there?
I smoked at their house.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
your house didn't smell like weed.
No,
Okay, that
not even
was
a little
okay. I was
bit.
curious.
No.
Okay.
And so flipped out and like said, you know, you've jeopardized my entire future, our career. Like, how dare you? And besides, not to mention what it does to your brain. I don't want to be married to a dummy. Blah blah blah. So I was like, oh fuck, you're right. Oh my god, because of course you're right. Because you're my wife, and I don't care about what anybody else says. And then a few years later, 2016, I got divorced. And which is this whole other bag of drama we can go into some other time. And then I was living on my own, in my
So you're
own
saying you
situation.
literally smoked one time and for a day, and then stopped for 2 years?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And then,
Okay.
but I remembered how it made me feel. So I would think about it sometimes when I was like really stressed out. I was like, wow, I remember that one time I smoked weed. Like I felt so chill and like I was just hanging with my best friends and everything was great. And then in 2016 when I got divorced, it was a big way to help with the stress and the anxiety of getting divorced because that was a big one for me. That was like a big life event that like really changed a lot for me. And one of my friends had just haphazardly mentioned like, hey dude, like you want to go smoke? And I was like, all of that time I had spent thinking about it was given the sudden opportunity to go do the thing, and then it just fucking spiraled from there. 4 weeks later, I was throwing up 24 ounces of cookies and cream milkshake because I took the first dab of my life and coughed for 45 minutes straight, dude.
God,
Like,
you went hard early.
dude,
Okay,
I
shit.
did. Well, it was because
Well, also, I
somebody.
couldn't imagine smoking it starting at 27 because all that was out at
Right,
that point, right?
right.
Yeah.
It's like Apple stores for weed out there, dude.
No, yeah, that was a whole different time. I couldn't imagine starting then just being like, a whole new
That's a
world.
hundred
Like,
percent
what the
was. That's
wow.
100% what it was. I asked my
Yeah.
friends to Aladdin me on this magic carpet ride of drugs, and honestly, I will say this is for the record too. At least as far as I'm concerned, weed was definitely a gateway drug, right? Like it was 100% a gateway drug,
See,
because
for me, it wasn't.
well,
A
for me,
hun
it was because
Not
I
at
was
all.
like, wow, I grew up and Dare and the police and God, they were all wrong about this weed thing. What else are they wrong about? And then I'm eating these things that come out of the ground and I'm eating these little pieces of paper and I'm like, what the fuck? This is awesome. And then it like, now I'm the person I am now. Just like, and I'm the person I was then, just
Willing to try
happy.
shit, right?
Yeah, expanding my worldview, expanding my spiritual view. I've gone from Southern Baptist to atheist to more agnostic, right? Just
Okay.
in my travels there. But yeah, no, wheat is 100% a newer thing for me, and it was the reason I didn't smoke was a stigma and then unavailability. But as soon as as soon as I got the opportunity afterwards, I won't go back now, right? Like it's even to the point where if and I'm single, if I ran into a situation where a person was like, hey, if you want to be with me, you have to stop smoking weed, I'd say, well, I hope you find your person because it's not me. Bye, right?
Right.
Like sorry, but yeah, it's changed everything.
Kind of the same thing if you found a lady that said, "Hey, I don't want you to play video games," and you're like,
Oh yeah, this
"Well,
isn't
about
gonna
that,
work.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. By the way, you know those like you can meet a vegan, and then, there's certain things that there will be deal breakers, but so now weed is one of those
Yeah,
that's on your no, this is who I am.
right.
This is trust me, sweetheart. You met me stoned. This is who you like. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you're
yeah,
gonna want
exactly.
me stoned. Yeah,
You've
how
never
about you?
seen me sober.
You said you started pretty late in life too, right? You started when you were older than a high
I
schooler.
started when I was in X-ray working 20s, I don't know, early 20s. I was like 22, 23. I forget the exact age I started.
So you have immediate experience with weed and healthcare. Then, specifically, help us dissolve the stigma that weed makes you unable to function or think. Right?
Oh, this is good. Okay, so this actually goes great with my beginning story. Let me say, I first started smoke like I had the same stigma as you.
Okay.
I grew up with it as around me, but always as like this is the thing that's bad. Like the fight against drugs is marijuana, and this whole like what the fuck is the problem with
Right.
marijuana? And my dad actually smoked. My mom was a drinker, she was on pills. My dad was a smoker, and he was on he did some little cannabis.
Okay.
So I associated all this shit with being an asshole and being
Oh,
not
okay.
able to take care of your shit. So I was like, I had all these
I don't want to be
stigmas
that
on my
person.
own personal
Okay.
shit, right?
Okay.
Where I don't want to be this person. And it wasn't till much later that I figured out, oh, it wasn't this, 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 and this. It's these people were assholes. These people couldn't
Ah.
handle their shit. Like everybody's different. So I had my own shit I had to get over. But I remember being offered it in school. I remember at one point walking from
Mhm.
home, hey, bro, you want some trees? What the fuck is that? Like,
You're like, homie, there's
no,
plenty of
I
trees.
don't know what trees are, but I'm good. Like, I don't need broccoli. Like, I don't know what's happening. Like, I remember at one point somebody, it was the whole, hey man, do you have some what? Oh yeah, I got like a bunch. I'll go get you some. Oh man, I can't because my mom's there. Like, I just remember it was always around my house, but I never really wanted to be that as my thing. So at one point, while I was working, I had some time off. I was living in I was like at a lower point in my life, but I feel like I was still at a high spot when I think about it
Ah,
now.
I
But
see what you did there.
I was living in a warehouse, but I
Okay.
was working in X-ray. So I was like, well, I was saving money, but I wasn't doing great, and I didn't have anything to do. I was on a weekend, it was
Sure.
Saturday, and a buddy was like, "Hey, you want to come over for a barbecue?" I finally figured out I'm staying there after staying there for like a year, and I'm like, "All right, this is awkward. Fucking barbecue, like that sounds great." And he decided we to smoke, and I said, "Fuck it. You know what? I have nothing else to do." I just remember, I just like you that feeling of all the worry, all the pain, all the anxiety I had, all the weird shit I didn't even know was an issue with my social, like, awkwardness went away,
Oh, nice.
and I could the first thing we did was a project. My first day I was smoking, I was doing things. We fixed, like, we went and fixed a TV, we went and moved a couple things, I think we, like, trimmed the bushes and shit. And every time I've smoked since, and most days, I usually function very well.
Mhm.
I like specifically to go and do things
Yes, me too.
because make your Monday go do the dishes. Hi. Guess what? Because you're gonna have to do the dishes anyway.
Yeah.
But listen to music and be so much more
Right. You're
entertained.
gonna be shaking your ass, and honestly,
You're gonna be
yes.
actually having a good time doing something. Otherwise, you're just like, this is the worst part of my
Right.
day.
Something you
It's
got to
not the
do
worst
anyway.
part of my
Right.
day. It's just a part of my day, and
Right.
that's what changes when I'm smoking. Don't drive, don't do something unsafe, don't operate heavy machinery if you can't handle what but I have like a weed whacker. I love to smoke and handle my weed
Oh, I
whacker.
bet that would
I
be
love
cool.
to smoke and handle my leaf blower.
Yeah.
There are things that I'm able to do where I function, I see what I'm supposed to do with the job, and then I smoke. But if I can't do it, I do what I'm supposed to do. I've put my computer
Well
together.
said.
Hi. I do most things hi, but
Right.
no. As far as like the medical world and like what they'll tell you is, of course, it's a chill. There's obviously sativa and indica, things that are going to bring you up, things are going to bring you down. But it's all in what you do with it. It's all in your reaction. I
Right.
really hate the stigma of look at the lazy,
Mhm.
pot smoking stoner guy. It's like, do you know how hard I fucking
Right.
work?
Right.
And the
Stoned.
best
Stony baloney.
way, yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm stoned, and that's why I tell people, like, I smoke every hour on the hour. So my 1 hour day is consistent to my 8 hour day.
There you go.
Because otherwise, my general labor day, I'm exhausted
Right.
at 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours. You think you're gonna get the same me at 8 hours? But if
Right.
I'm smoking and I'm like, let's fucking do this shit. Only got one more hour. Woo!
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Where'd the other 7
Look
go?
at
This
this
has
guy
been
kicking
awesome.
ass. Yeah, no,
How
I
many times
want to
in your
kill that
job have
stigma.
you just been doing shit and you just got completely side-reeled or distracted by something really fucking cool, like a pretty rock or awesome bug or really pretty plant? Would you say that, like,
Not really.
no, no?
Not if I'm working. I'll
I,
take in a view. I'll
yeah.
take in a I mean, I'll definitely, like, enjoy nature. That's why I
But
love
you're
this
able to like
area.
stay on task and just like the stigma
If I
also of
took
people being able
5
to
minutes, they
focus
wouldn't give a
or
shit
not
if I went,
focus.
"Look at the squirrel."
Yeah, yeah,
Because 'Cause I'd probably at the end, they went, "Dude, I looked at this squirrel for 5 like, this was crazy. Like, look what it" I would talk about it for 3 minutes, you
yeah,
know? Like,
yeah, yeah. Well, so and that really again just goes to break another stigma that folks who smoke are also distracted and can't focus on things, right? Like you just mentioned, the 8 hours are the same for you. and you're able to kind of focus and get done what you need to get done, even though you're high, right? And again,
Right.
I'm not advocating for anybody to like do their jobs high. Only like X-Ray said best. Only you know what your tolerance is and what you can handle, and these are our personal experiences. I personally,
For
I
instance, I didn't do X-ray job. I didn't do my X-ray job high, and I
yeah.
specifically don't do blacksmithing high. I don't
There
like
you
to
go.
handle hot iron while I'm
Fair.
high,
Where
but
you're
I'll
stoned, yeah.
smoke right after. I'll smoke before. There's
Right.
no reason I'm gonna smoke and do like I would have to be totally because it's all precision hits, so it's different types of relaxant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good way to word it. And well, Torgas says in chat, I think that stigma came out before we really knew what ADHD was. And that's a
Yeah.
good point. Well, and I'll say for mine, it's helped wonders, right? If anything, it's the opposite of not being able to focus. Don't get me wrong, as we've already seen here several fucking times, I do, I wander off
That's
sometimes.
why I was saying we kind of get a little
Right, right,
distracted, but we more like drift because
right. Because we come back, usually. We come back.
well, I don't know, like, I get as I call it the spider web, where I have, like, 8 different thoughts that all
Okay.
kinda go and I can follow them, but I can always come back to the main one
Oh,
usually.
that's a good way
But
to word it.
it's yeah, hard for other people to follow it on stone though. They're like, "What the fuck is this guy talking about?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Dude, I'm ready."
The tangents, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good metaphor, and I would use it if I were capable of retracing my steps. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can go back to work, but sometimes I'll do one of those wanders, and then I lost it, it's gone, and it either comes back later or it doesn't. But to that point, like I'm not a person who will smoke when they're working just because of that. Like it would help with stress, anxiety, and again, like you said, right after. And I have like a pretty technical job where I have to kind of stay focused and like be ready at a moment's notice. So typically speaking, that's not for me. But I've had jobs where it was right. Like I used to work in a warehouse and what like a picker at a warehouse.
Okay.
You drive around on a forklift and just put shit
That's
on a
why I
pallet.
started in my X-ray was on in a warehouse for a year, so that's awesome.
There you go. There you go. Great. It's so awesome to
Dude,
see
I
what we have in
love
common.
driving a forklift, dude. It was
Well,
just
so
so
so here's
cool.
the thing. I wasn't smoking weed when I worked in the warehouse, but
Neither did I.
I
No,
think back on it now and imagine that if I was smoking weed in that warehouse, that job would have been
probably.
infinitely better. And I was making buckets, but I was always exhausted, and I couldn't balance that.
Dude, I was
But
making $8. I was making $8. I remember that.
back with that, see, I was making when I worked in the warehouse, I was making like 14 an hour when minimum wage was like $8 an hour.
See,
Uh,
that's
so
some
so
shit.
and yeah, so I was balling,
You were
but
like, I'm killing it. Yeah.
yes, I had all the new. That was back when Battlefield 3 was a big video game. Like everybody's playing Battlefield 3, and I played Battlefield 3 relentlessly, dude. And I just imagined that if I were smoking weed on that job, that I probably would have kept that job because that would have been a much cooler job. But other jobs, I just don't smoke. Like when I'm streaming, I have to be smoking. And sometimes I can consider streaming working, but for the most part, I don't. Right? It's more just turning on a camera and seeing what happens. Because when I'm not streaming, I'm still talking to myself. Like when I'm playing WoW or playing arenas or like doing dungeons or whatever, like I will be commentating and talking out loud what I'm doing. So much so that I'm one of those folks who mutes my Discord when I stream. So I'm talking to the stream and I mute my Discord so people don't fucking hear what I'm saying. Like that's one of the things I don't like to see on people when they're streaming is if like they're streaming and they have their Discord going and they're like, oh hey so and so, thanks for the sub. Well, the 11 people playing Among Us with them are like, bro, focus.
Dude,
Um,
I don't like when other people because most have at least one of those other fuckers are streaming most likely as well, and then have to hear that is so annoying.
yeah, yeah. Well, in that content, well, and that's well. So I know, and I didn't get a chance to hit on this when we were doing the sound check, and that's on me. But I really wanted to. You mentioned that you wanted to avoid talking about the state of Twitch, as at least as it relates to the bannable stuff and the DMCA stuff. Are you okay talking about the state of Twitch when it comes to weed, or do you want to avoid the state of
Oh
Twitch
no, that's fine.
altogether? Okay,
No, totally fine. No, I was just like this is gonna change. Like we could go into it for so long. I think it would be taking away from the current topic is
hmm
all. And I hate to say it, but are we gonna talk any love, romantic, and otherwise? Because that's what the title says we're gonna talk. So I
really?
was
My title
uh,
says You might refresh your page for me.
Do I have to refresh, please?
Please
Oh,
tell me that you have to refresh. Hey, chat,
please tell me I have
chat.
to.
I need
Oh,
you to wait. What's it
oh,
say?
I just did.
And it
Oh, I don't
says,
know.
does it
I'm
say?
not sure. It
Oh
says episode. I'm not sure.
shit!
It
No,
could
it
be
might
me.
be me. It might be me because I just refreshed and my title's not updated correctly either. Holy shit! Thanks, X-Ray.
But I would love to talk love, romance, and whatever
Oh,
the
you
fuck
missed
the
it.
other thing is.
It was fun. We had a good
I
shot.
watched a little bit of it. I
Did
ain't gonna
you?
lie. I was like,
Did you
the
see the
fuck is this
joke about the
Bowborne show
Clinton?
all about? Dude, I watched like 5 minutes of it, dude. I
Well,
was
no, well,
tired
I mean,
this
but I put a
morning.
clip all over the internet
I
of it
walked to
too,
get
so
a
that folks who weren't gonna watch the 3 hours
donut.
of that fucking episode, dude.
No,
Um,
I was curious. I watched a little bit.
one sec.
I was just asking.
We can. No, I really wish that you would have asked sooner.
I
Yeah. Oh
noticed
my
like
god,
five
dude,
minutes
get
ago.
this.
I saw my face crack on the screen. I'm like, fuck, it's gonna be. Oh, and then I couldn't figure out what to tell you, so I tried.
That was perfect. No, that was a great segue. You jumped right into it. Well, you know, and so episode 2, the guest I had, Jenna, didn't want to be on cam, so she gave me a picture of her turtle swimming in the fish tank, which was a perfectly looped GIF and like great for these purposes. But I
Okay.
didn't scroll down on my audio sources, and I didn't realize that it was a GIF and it had sound, and the sound was the fish tank in the background, and
Oh God,
so
just bubbles and shit
for,
the whole
yes, for
time.
the whole two and a half hours, and I didn't know about it because I didn't listen to the sound like an idiot. Last time I made that
That's
mistake,
some good shit.
but I didn't listen to the sound until I had downloaded the clip and downloaded the clip and started to do the editing. I heard that fish tank and I was like, no, say it. And then I skipped through the video several points just to see if it was there for the whole thing, and it was, and I was like, idiot. So yes, thank you for telling me, because this has certainly been a stumble along, learn as you
Hey
go
man,
kind of
I
show.
know what
To be
it's
honest
like.
with you, I wouldn't do it any other way. I wouldn't do it any other way. I'm
That's
having
how
a
you work it.
well, so here's the best part. I had this idea when I'd stayed up all night, like on a Friday night, slept all day Saturday, and woke up at like 3 a.m. on Sunday. And I woke up and I like felt energized as one would after 18 hours of sleep, and cleaned the house a little bit, did some chores, cooked some breakfast. I was like, man, I wish I had a talk show. And then I thought to myself, you can have a talk show. I said, what do you need to have a talk show? I started Googling it, and I was like, why don't I just do this, but on stream? And then I was like, well, can you just call it a talk show and it's a talk show? And then the other part of my brain said, yeah, that's 100% what you can do. Just you have a talk show now. Congratulations. Don't miss it. And it has certainly been like figure things out as we go along. I had my first missed episode last week. Like I told you, I just slept through the day, and honestly, I felt like absolute shit after already doing it. Like I didn't leave anybody hanging, which was part of why it like happened, right? So I realized that I like the accountability to get on and have a conversation with a person, and it's an awesome place to tell all my friends like, hey, listen, here's where I'll be, same place, same time every week. If you want to come hang out with me, that's where that. And lastly, it's really awesome to do things like this where there's people I want to have a conversation about a topic with. I can sit them down and they can sit me down and we can just have a conversation about it. You know what I mean? See, that's a good example of the fucking digression, the fucking side tangent, where would be a segment of my spider web if some angry gardener had cut down the rest of my spider web, and I
And
did.
see, but like I'm still waiting for you to go back to your core
Which was
of
help me.
Twitch and
Yes.
weed.
Well, I've been wanting to do an episode about Twitch and weed for a long time because I noticed that you turn off your face cam when you're smoking, right, on Twitch.
I do.
And I usually do the same thing, but like you said, there are streamers who are partners who just fucking smoke blunts with their stream. I have not witnessed one of those yet, so I'm glad that you have, because I have been looking, and apparently I've just been looking poorly.
It's funny. I've seen the same people that I've seen go follow for follow, dabs for subs, the whole
Whew,
fucking sellout
I'm gonna
bullshit.
die.
Yeah, right. I'm just like, dude, how much money do you have to sell on dabs for subs, bro? Like, no. Like they got partner, they got big, and once they got there, they slowed way the
Oh,
fuck down.
so I
They
wonder.
made it like 10, 15, 20, if at all. Like they still smoked, but it wasn't as obvious. And I don't know.
You
Everything
don't know
that
if
I
there was
know
like a
on Twitch says
conversation about
it's
it.
fine, but I don't know if they got messages to say calm the fuck down, but they still do it, so it must not, or if they just generally couldn't keep up. I
So,
really don't
question for
know.
you: did you read your affiliate contract?
Of course I do, Bowborne. I read absolutely everything fully that Twitch gives me. You know this.
Wasn't the trap that it had sounded like it was meant to be, but well said, well navigated nonetheless. Me too, and I wonder if the partner agreement does mention something
Okay.
about.
Okay, let me clarify. I read absolutely everything that Twitch gives me fully, but my memory sucks.
Oh, okay. Well, don't like a responsible content creator,
Ah, I
you
love it.
have a copy saved on your desktop to reference with a searchable database of words
Oh,
at all
yeah, at all
times?
times. If I
At all
ever need
times.
to worry, yeah, of course. If I ever forget a phrase or a word or, yep,
Right.
a tone.
Speaking of Twitch, I want to catch up on chat here for a second. Let's see here. Yeah, yeah. Nix was saying that they smoke to get through the workday. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Some folks just have to. I've had jobs where you have to. Well, and maybe not have to, but when you do, they're a lot more fun. Like X-Ray was saying earlier, the tasks
Well,
of
I
the
think as
mind.
I was talking about like going through the 8 hours, I think she's just talking about that actually gets her through it
There
in
you go.
general,
There you
which
go.
is
Just
a whole nother way to look at what we were talking about.
fair, fair. Yeah. Well, I mean, and I definitely, I'll tell you, I don't think I would stream sober, because sober me, while still as talkative and engaged, is a lot more likely to hyper focus on the game and not necessarily like
Here's an
commentate.
honest
Right.
question that I would like
Okay.
to ask that
Okay.
I've kind of gotten into as just I don't know if it's like as an adult or because as a content creator it might kill certain people's love of gaming or how you game on and off stream depending. But like in general, I don't oh, I fucking forgot my thought. Hold on.
You had a question, an
I
honest
had a great
question.
question. I had a great question. It
I'm
was a great
glad.
one
I'm
though.
glad that sometimes your spider webs also get weed whacked.
I was fucking well, I was about to smoke that, and apparently I don't need to smoke that right now. Uh, um, but, no, no, thank you, I remember it now. When it comes to video games now, can you smoke when you 'cause you smoke in game.
Yeah.
Do you wanna smoke? Like, do you wanna game sober? Like, do you wanna smoke and
No.
not game? Like,
No, I don't. I there are
'cause I don't
times where
wanna
I
game
do.
sober anymore. I
No, I
kinda
don't.
wanna game
Hi.
high.
Yeah, I don't
If
game
I had
sober.
to go a long time sober, I think it'd really be hurtful.
Yeah. Well, and
I just had to get that thought out, Iron. I apologize, but I just had to find it. You know what I mean?
it takes a minute. And I'm honestly just glad I could also contribute. You really helped me out with coming back to the center of the web. I'm happy to return the favor. I don't often show up on time to the party, but I always show up. Okay.
Right.
Um, yeah, no, I don't game sober. I don't. It's not enjoyable
But if yeah,
anymore.
if I want to see you playing Guild Wars 2 tomorrow,
Yeah.
you're not sober.
No. Nope.
And if you like, but if you ran out of weed for any
I
reason,
don't.
do you?
But I know what you
Would
mean.
your desire? What like? Would you still want to create content even if it wasn't gaming though?
No, no. Well, I don't know. Here's the real tricky thing, and this has actually been a difficult thing for me with streaming in general, which we'll come back to when we kind of talk about. We kind of jumped right into weed, and I wanted to start the first 30 minutes with talking about you and your channel. So don't let me skip that because it's important to
I
me, right?
tried to just double back to that so I could learn it. So well, I went a little bit about that so I could figure out why you started smoking, but I didn't ask why you started
You're
streaming
right.
and smoking. And I am curious, like you did touch about, why you don't at currently
Stream that
stream.
much. Yeah.
No,
Well,
not only stream, but stream and smoke. Like why
oh, I
you
see what you
go
mean. I see what you
offline
mean.
to smoke. Because I've smoked like I am currently a few times. My comfortability with it is getting increasingly more comfortable as the laws are becoming more flexible. But seeing as I started and it was absolutely illegal, it would have been it would have been idiotic in my
Oh,
eyes to
I
be
see.
like,
So
"Hey, look at me."
you mean like literally
So,
turning off your camera while you're smoking,
right, I'm
like
curious
literally creating content while
as
consuming cannabis.
you still are,
I see, I
yes.
see, I see, I see. So yeah, I mean, the talk show is a bit of a different thing. That exists for other reasons, and I figured I talk about weed enough, and I mean, I really did want to talk about how it pertained to streaming because when before I did get a bit of a community, which happened with Guild Wars 2, I did just stream and smoke. I did the just smoke a joint and play Guild Wars and drop the ash on the fucking wrist while I'm being all sweaty PvPing or take a rip from the bong. But then I did start turning off my camera when I was smoking. As I started to do a bit more research about it and figured out that typically speaking, it's a little bit more federally leaning in regards to the way that Twitch handles things. And I heard through the grapevine because I applied for an ArenaNet partnership, right? A content
Okay.
creator partnership. That's why back when I was pulling like 40, 50 people a day and like streaming every single day PvP, 5, 6 hours a day and really like engage with the community.
On your grind at that point,
Right,
right.
right. I felt like it was a good time for it, and I never heard back from them. But then there were other streamers who did the same thing as I did and had the same volume I did who applied that did get it. So I asked around because my background is after the whole the school thing that we talked about earlier. I got really big into the game design industry and the game development industry. So I know like a lot of behind the scenes folks. So I asked around and asked for people's opinions on what they thought. And there was a brief mention of, hey, like I get that it's legal where you live, but maybe it had something to do with the fact that you smoke weed while you're streaming. And yes, it's legal, and yes, you're not breaking any laws, but also a lot of these companies who are looking for outward facing representations or sponsors or Twitch, even if they're looking at a partnership application, they're going to also review any liabilities that you bring to them or their platform. And a lot of these folks are accountable to not just the state that we live in terms of legality, right? Like, for example, there are a lot of uh, um, Middle Eastern and Asian and North or Eastern European countries that don't endorse the behavior that we love, but play a big part in Twitch's success. And at a certain point, and I was going to talk about this last week, but at a certain point, Twitch and other people that you want to work with, if you want to create content and work with another company, they're going to look at those liabilities as they relate to those countries and maybe rule you out as an option because of it. So I figured, I don't know. So I bounced
You
back and
did it
forth.
because you didn't want it to prohibit your success.
Right, and then I realized, and I go back and forth between, well,
Or
fuck
at least
success.
was
I
the
do this for
indication from
me and
other
for my
people, right?
friends, and I create content because I want to be true to me. Fuck it, I'll leave the camera on while I take this hit. And other times I'm like, well, it would be pretty cool if you could make this a fucking thing, and then I turn off the camera. And then
Right.
then I think to myself, well, but if you're gonna make it a thing, you're gonna make it a thing by being genuinely you, and like, you gotta want to be yourself and the truest representation of yourself. So I turn it back on, and then I'm like, well, if you want to make waves in an industry and set precedents in an industry, you have to make it into the industry. And then I turn it off. So I don't know, bro. It goes back and forth. I
Dude,
figured.
that is so what I love to hear because I had the same thing, man. You just like, am I a groundbreaker? Am I a visionary? Or am I just another fucking guy doing like, what is the point? Like, do I true? Like, I went a different, well, it was also when I started, I was in a different I was in a different relationship than I am now. And they had kids, so I was not smoking in the house,
Okay.
first off.
Okay.
So it was more like every hour, 2 hours,
X-ray
I
goes
would
for a
take a
walk.
5-minute break, bathroom stretch break. I never, and then a couple
Man,
times I would be like, "You seem different."
imagine
Like
that
about to
coming up in
say,
conversations with their
like,
friends, right? Well, this guy that lives with us,
yeah.
he takes a
He
5 minute
takes a 5-minute
bathroom stretch break, he
bathroom
calls it,
break
and people are gonna
every
go,
minute.
he does what now?
No, every hour, like he does a what? He has to piss. He's like, everyone like, dude, go check your prostate. They were
Yeah.
like, this is bad. I was like, no, it's like this is what I want to go do. And that was just the vibe of the stream. That was everyone would go take a 5-minute break, and they were fine with that. Didn't
Okay.
really come up. And then eventually people started asking, it more started being a thing.
Right. Came up in
Every once in a
conversations.
while, the kids wouldn't be there, and I'd be like, do something like, oh, I'm gonna smoke real quick inside, or something, blow it out the window, some
Okay.
crazy shit. Oh, crazy! But it wouldn't really be something I would show. It would just be more like an energy, just to go back. But once I got single, I went hard for like 3 months, 4 months, where I streamed literally every day. Every day I got home, till I went to sleep, and like just every minute I could be like awake, I was streaming. And so I was like, I'm smoking. Like, there's no reason not to be smoking. But I didn't really like. I was checking other people at that point. It was still really on the verge. I think that was like 2019, not really being popularized. There was a couple people doing it, but for the most part, kind of like I'm saying now, there's like either people that are getting big for it and being celebrated for it, or other people that have literally 0 to 2 people on their channel making it the biggest fucking hype that they're doing it. And just like, all I'm looking is like, I'll pop in like, I see a big old bag of weed on your bed that's open, and I'm getting pissed off because you're getting it stale. Like, that's
Right.
all I see.
Right.
Like, that's cool. Look at your
Weird
wasteful
weird
fucking pillow
flex,
bag,
bro,
bro.
but
Cool.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You like smoking stale shit. You're cool. Enjoy that in 2 weeks, you asshole. Like, yeah, I think weird shit. But it's a whole different state now.
Yeah.
Where I've actually incorporated it as more of an element where I still like the energy of smoking, and I don't go anywhere. This is my spot.
Mhm.
But I now have created a meme recently that is called Feeding My Fish.
Oh yeah, I
And
love it,
we
bro.
now affectionately refer to weed on stream as fish food.
Okay.
And most people understand it, and some people
What
show up in the
is
first part like, what the fuck is
yeah,
going
what
on?
is the purpose for the is this just because it was a
It
good opportunity to create
literally,
relatability or
I hate to say it, like, but like with everything that happens, it kind of just happened organically.
okay.
Like, it was a weird one time, like, you know how many weird side references I
Oh
make
yeah,
of shit?
absolutely, yeah.
I was like, one time someone was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Because they heard the
Oh,
bah,
feeding the
bah, and they're
fish.
like,
You're feeding the
"What is that?" And I
fish.
was like, "Oh, that's the bubbles from the tank. I
I
was feeding
see.
my fish right now." And they laughed their ass off. And I was
Is
like,
that
and
like an
everyone's like,
industry thing? Do people use
"All
that
right."
commonly to refer to weed smoking as feeding the
I
fish?
have
Anybody
no I
know in
fucking
chat?
idea. No
Because
idea.
because honestly, that makes enough sense. Like it's grounded and well rooted enough to feel like maybe like because we're relatively speaking new stoners. There are folks in chat who've been smoking for like 30 years, right? Like
Right.
so if this is one of those
And I
things.
have been
Because
like,
if
I
not, like
have
you're a
worked at
trendsetter.
certain.
Because that's
Would
fucking
be interesting.
honestly, I think about it all the time. Every time I hit my bong, I'm like, oh, here I am feeding the fish.
Feed the fish.
Yeah,
Like, I'm gonna
and
get.
then I get a little giggle out of it, man. Like
We
if
named the fish. We got a whole bit with it. Like,
that's
it's one
the
of those
thing.
things that's a
Well,
thing.
and here's the fun thing is that that's a brand you can carry on into a lot of different things, right? Think about it when you're a big real estate mogul or whatever you want to do with your life. And you like need to name stores and shit or airlines like Fish Food Airlines. You know what I
Dude, that's
mean?
the shit right there.
Fish Food Bakery and Goods, and it's just a fucking edibles bakery. Wow, how cool would that be? A whole ass, and I'm sure it's out there. But like, well, you know what we should also touch on real quick is why the fuck are we able to sit here and have a talk show about weed, but there's still folks who like are in prison about it. Like, not to get all social for a second, but I do think at a certain point we probably should just be like, oh, the only
I
thing on this
know
record is weed, lighter.
in my area, at least, they've really released a lot of people for a lot of
Weed related
marijuana,
stuff.
especially during the whole Rona situation. And I know I specifically live in what we would call the Golden Triangle, where there's a crap ton of farmers. And from what I know from the sheriffs, they basically were basically very blunt, saying, "Yeah, the economy sucks. We're not going to bust anybody this
Do
year."
what you got to do.
So they're fucking gonna make money. And it was like,
Yeah.
all right.
Make sure you pay your
And
taxes.
go pay it exactly. Like, you're gonna go and we're gonna sell it to the dispensary. The dispensaries are gonna fucking make money, and they're gonna fucking send it on home, and we're gonna
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
thrive and survive this fucking bullshit. So
Well,
it's
and I
like,
know folks
cool.
who have done exactly that. They didn't know what they wanted to do either after high school or after college. They tried a bunch of shit and it didn't work out. And then they started growing weed and all of a sudden they're these fucking moguls, right? And then like they're doing what they should be doing. They're paying their taxes, they're following the laws, and like they're fucking making it, and they fucking grow weed. But there's still people that like have to visit their families in like a visitor room because they got caught selling weed or whatever, right? Like they,
That I can't be that I mean, that's what I'm thinking. That's when we started. When I started smoking, like when I started streaming and smoking, you would be thrown in jail if like that. It was I had my medical card, but they didn't give a fuck.
mm-mm.
Federally, I could get fucked at any point
Yeah,
for a little bit. I can remember when I started, I walking down the path, smoking a joint with somebody, and a cop seeing it. This motherfucker swallowed the whole thing.
oh my god, while it was on fire.
Why it was lit?
He's like,
Just
you
like,
got me,
"Oh,
stomach
oh,
acid, right?
gone,
Esophagus,
yep,
go fuck
gone. What do you got,
yourself.
officer?" Like, dude, that I'm gonna be telling stories to people that people are gonna talk like from Blockbuster Video,
Right.
that they're not even gonna
What's
understand. Like, what's a
Blockbuster?
Blockbuster? You had to
Yeah.
go and pick it up. Like, they're not gonna understand that I had to go to a guy's house stories and had to go
Mm-hmm.
talk to this guy and this guy. We had to go. We drove for an hour and a half to get a quarter out. They're not gonna understand the
No.
shit
Well, I'll be
that we're
honest. I'm really
talking.
relying on you for this for Hawaii too, right? Like,
Oh, and to be
um,
fair, I already have the guy there. We're fine.
that's what I'm saying,
We're
dude.
totally good.
But yeah, but other like meanwhile in our states, respectively, we have dispensaries that look like fucking Apple stores, right? Like,
I
holy
do like
shit.
Iron's idea of getting a whole chain and call like imagine if the term the aquarium
Okay.
applied to fucking fish food.
Okay.
If you were like, dude, I gotta go to the aquarium, you were going and rolling a J. Dude,
That would
that'd
help.
be so
That would well,
crazy.
and then think of all of the
I really
different
fuck all
themes.
the aquarium
Think of all the
businesses.
themes that you could pull out of that. Nautical themes you could pull out of that. You could have specials. Like that's a
Dude,
in
you could
terms
make
of
a type of
brandability.
fish for every type of weed.
Here's the
Like,
thing, X-Ray. You need to start branding that, man, because
I'm
it's
just
catchy. It's
saying.
catchy as fuck. You're true, like Fletcher said, a true visionary. So, in regards to Twitch streaming, Bruff asked earlier, what's the biggest challenge that you faced as a content creator, both in regards to weed and just in general?
Now, is that like with weed related as a
Both,
content creator
both, yeah. If
or
you have an experience where it was like where you had a standout experience in regards to streaming and weed, yes, but also what's your biggest? Because this runs kind of into the question I'm going to ask you later in regards to your channel. More generally speaking, so if you want to save that for then you can. If you want to talk about it now, that's fine too. I got them editing skills now. So I'll put it where it needs to be, but both, man. For the current topic, I want to know if you've encountered any difficulty in regards to weed and streaming, and then later on, I am going to ask you what difficulties you faced just as a streamer in general.
wow. Nice little think. Good, very good question.
Yeah, that's
I'm
Bruff's question.
trying to
All right,
think
yeah,
other than I don't know, I stream at a mature channel of
same,
over 18.
same.
So I'm never really worried about fucking up like I say fuck shit. I talk. We have real conversations when I really like when I try to create content
I
and
know,
stream.
bro.
So
I'm
I'm
there.
not
That's part
worried
of why I'm
about.
there. Yeah.
I am worried about fucking. But if there was a 14, 15, 16-year-old, man, that guy's gonna get some real shit he wasn't ready for. Maybe like I
Mm-hmm.
don't really need that without a warning.
Right.
So
That's 100% why I put the mature filter up too. Yeah.
if I think about it, I can't really remember a time that I smoked or somebody knew I smoked where I really had a negative effect. I have some people that don't really enjoy it. I remember, other than like in general, like having an ex that would just not really enjoy, like think it was an issue. I have one viewer that I know of that doesn't like my current bong and the sound of the bubbles because they think it sounds like their kid blowing bubbles in a chocolate milk. So it gives them a weird like
So it has nothing to
bubble.
do with the weed. It's
It has
more of the
nothing to do,
sound.
and it has nothing to do with the weed. It has the fact that that sound. I could be smoking a J and they wouldn't give a fuck. So it's
So,
like
okay.
literally tell her like the movie Old School, I'm like, hey, blah blah blah, earmuffs, and they'll
Okay.
fucking and they mute themselves, and because I don't, everyone knows what I'm gonna fucking do. And
That's thoughtful of
sometimes
you.
if I'm being nice, and I will mute myself and just blow the smoke, so everyone knows, hey, smoking, but it's not a big fucking show and thing, but it's
Okay.
different energy. But that would probably be like really the only other than like we were stressing about is like self-doubt as far as should I do it?
Right.
Should I not? Is it gonna be a thing? If am I gonna make it a big thing? Am I gonna make it a if do I wanna be a visionary? Do I is it being a visionary? Is it being cliche? Is it like I is it being true to my like at this point it is. It's just more being who I am and not hiding, I guess, who
Sure.
I am
Sure.
and wanting to be open. And I feel like I've made not even more I've made friends, but it's another thing that we all have in common, I
Right. I know
guess,
every time
my
I show
core
up, you're
group,
like, hey, man, let's smoke. And I'm like, oh, you already know I'm ready
where
right here. I didn't
I'm
click on
like,
the
I have
stream
a
until the
couple
bowl was
yeah, and
packed.
they're like, this we have like 10 people on the same smoke schedule right
Yeah.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
that we're all just like every hour, like, hey, is it time? They're just waiting. Fuck it. I almost should have a thing like
Well,
fucking
fuck.
hurry
And
up.
we
It's that
remind you
time. Like
too, right?
fucking
Like if you're
yeah,
in the middle
five
of Cowboys
month,
and it's like the fucking time to smoke, your chat will be like, fish
right?
food? Question mark.
They'll start going. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's for the I can't really remember that's and actually that's kind of crazy now that I think about it, because you would think that there would be something that I would think of, but not. But
But that's a good thing, right? That feels like a good thing. That there's
no,
nothing that there's not been like a huge like detriment to your content creation because of the fish food, as we're going to refer to it from now on, because let's build your brand here. Let's just start doing that now.
I don't know what my
Um,
biggest detriment on Twitch is.
Well, no, I just
I
meant
just
like it's cool that weed hasn't brought that, right? Like you haven't gotten banned or nobody's like reported you or you haven't got like a warning letter saying, "Hey, you better stop smoking the devil's lettuce. This is a
I've had
good
a
fear."
couple. A cut like early on. I had like 2 or 3 people. Oh yeah, you're gonna get banned for this, you
Yeah, same.
fucker, or
I get it
something.
every time,
And
yeah.
it was like, all right. And I have not heard that in forever. But that's
Mhm.
it's kind of like it's a different energy we put on. People know what we're doing, but it's kind of like
It's like if you
we,
know, you
we're
know. If you don't know,
it's like we're our own little cool club, and
yeah.
you're on the
True.
inside, and we know what we're doing, but everyone
Right.
else is like, the fuck you got? You know what the fuck is that going on? It's like, I smell it. It's like, yeah, but you don't know. What are you gonna do about it?
Right.
Fuck off. It's
Right.
legal.
What
We're
are you gonna?
totally
Right.
fine.
Right.
We
Call
could
the
be in your
sheriff.
face about it, and sometimes we choose to. And
It's
like
true.
right now, sometimes
That's
we'll
part of the
smoke.
trope.
So we did cosplay the other day,
Oh,
and
tell me more.
we more embodied Ace, and we
Okay.
just smoked as Ace and said, "Well, Ace isn't giving a fuck. Ace can't get banned.
Fucking your Ace cosplay
Ace
blows my
isn't a
mind.
real Ace isn't a real person. How can you ban a person that doesn't exist? He's just smoking." Like we
That's
did a
fair.
whole little bit, and it was like, but that wasn't us. Like
Yeah.
that
Okay.
was us, but it wasn't us. It was we had this. It was
So,
nice.
so it was a nice way to like skirt that mental fence in your brain
It
of
was just a
should I
more of
do
a
this?
mental thing
Yeah,
and just a more
cool.
energy we were putting on
That's
at the
cool.
time. We could have still done the other thing, but it was something we were choosing to do. So just showing different comfort levels we're more getting to as it's progressing on both legal stance, but also us as a content creator. I don't know about you. It's not hurting me. Just like in life, I was worried. Is it gonna hurt? Are people gonna run away? Is it gonna, oh man, because you ever see a drunk stream?
Yeah, all the
And that
time,
they're
dude.
like their big thing. It says my drunk stream. Well, in theory, I do a drunk stream every night, all night, but I'm smoking and
Right,
I
the
never get
Stone Street.
wasted. But
Right.
I never
Well,
have
and
that drunk stream energy. I don't under so it's like I never wanted to do
sometimes those aren't
that.
comfortable too, right? Like the drunk streams, sometimes those go pretty
And you
poorly.
get to a point where you get uncomfortable, or I've had people that get sick on stream. We're
Yeah.
just like that's disgusting,
I've
but
seen I've
you
seen where
never want
people
to
just
see
pass
someone
the
not
fuck out
handle their
at their
shit.
desk, right? Like put
But
their
that's
head down
basically
and
what that
out.
is.
Yeah.
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 They're like, when they gonna fail? Are they
Right.
gonna fail? How bad?
Right.
How many shots can I make them do for a
Right.
dollar? All right, like
Right. And I don't know about you, but
really?
I don't want that kind of community. I don't want the fraternity party only my friends when they can
Right.
laugh at me kind of thing, you know? That's a really good way to put that. And well, and the smoking thing, you're 100% right in that for me it's also built like a small of a bit of a sub community in the community of people who are smoking together, right? Folks who will pop in and say, "Hey, I got a joint ready, you ready to smoke?" Or, I do still have a channel reward point thing up where it's redeem amount of points and let's smoke a blunt together. I'll sit down, I'll put myself in just chatting in
For
between matches.
30,000
Is
points?
that a
Holy
lot? I don't
shit!
know.
That's I don't know if that's a lot. I don't have nearly that much.
Well, yeah, but like,
Oh, that's crazy.
but to your credit, I haven't been streaming that much, right? So
True.
I
I
will
haven't been
say
racking up.
I do see you lurking sometimes, and I just want to publicly say I appreciate it. I know the common Twitch rule, don't call out your lurkers, and I
To
know
be
that you're
fair,
there just to
right.
chill, but
I will call them out, but I just say I appreciate them, but I don't really be like, "Hey, you." But I've gotten better. I used to have a program where I would dude, it drove me
would
crazy.
tell
I'm
you
gonna
where
be
people
totally
pop in
honest.
and out of your
Oh
chat.
my god, I can't even imagine.
I have
I can't
nightmares about it.
recall it.
I have nightmares
Oh, I
about it
got rid of it,
sometimes.
and it's so much easier.
Chat
I
box or
forgot.
whatever it was called.
It
Yeah.
was yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they would actually it would show Bowborne showed up. And then
Bowborne left.
Bowborne would still be there and it would fucking show that he left. And my anxiety would go. I'm like, wait, Bowborne left me. And he'd be like, what the fuck do you mean? I'm like, what is it doing to me? Like,
Yes.
oh, I hated that thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's a problem with the securities, right? Like they can't that can't be accurate if if the
No,
Twitch
it was totally not. No.
and well, and it will also show like if I tab away but leave the volume on, which while I'm watching a stream, I do all the time because I'll be honest, I don't give a fuck about Dead by Daylight. Everything I know about Dead by Daylight, I know because of you, and that has
Dude,
helped
there's
me.
so many people I know
But
that do that. Yeah.
right,
That's
right,
just not sometimes that's not their game, but other
right.
people, that's their
But
game.
yeah, bro.
So
But so like if you're playing something I don't give a fuck about, like I'll listen, and when you're talking, I'll pop over and chat, and you know what I mean. But if I don't have the tab up, it doesn't count as a viewer. I've noticed that. So or if I mute the tab because I want to listen to a song or watch a video
yeah.
or
And if
whatever,
I really got
right?
my lurkers in one day, well, I really think Twitch keeps changing that shit too. But I would really have to figure out if we ever got, one of us gets that partner thing going. We just got to figure out when our lurkers like, what point do they have? Do they have to do this? Do they have to
Oh
do
yeah, give
that?
us some fucking
What do they
parameters here.
need to do so they can do what they want to do and not fuck us?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how much
Mm-hmm.
science do we have to do ourselves? To the
Eh,
point where I might just, hey, everybody in the channel, let's just do this right now so I can figure it the fuck out. Like,
right, right. Well, and I think that's a good way to start to move into relating it back to Twitch, and then I think generally speaking, and not to get too much into the state of Twitch things, because like you talked about the other day, it's not a fun combo these days. But like it really does lend into us as content creators. We as content creators do need a lot more clarity in a lot of areas and a lot of parameters, because I don't know about you, but when I'm creating content, I'm doing it in mind to be consumed either by a person who finds it entertaining or by me later when I'm judging myself, right? Like one way or the other. It's help us keep in mind things that will help the both of us, meaning the content creator and Twitch, become successful. Like we need to know the things that we need to know, like the whole DMCA thing. I don't know about you, but I spent probably 2 years creating content with music in the background going, one of these days we're gonna get a whole lot of nasty emails, right? Like what? I got to check out how much money, this is illegal. And then one day everyone's like, delete all your clips, the lawyers are coming. And I was like, wow, it'd be really cool if we fucking knew that. It'd be really cool. And like to relate it back to the topic, weed, like we don't know shit about weed. If you have you tried to research, can you smoke weed on stream? Have you like ever Googled that?
when I at one point, well, of course, I've tried to figure I actually have, and as far as I know, I've looked up all like actually read on Twitch's actual page. As far as it's legal in your state, as far as whatever you're doing in your state, you're allowed to do. If you're 21 and over and you can drink, you're allowed to drink. You can't fucking snort cocaine, you
Because it's not
can't
legal,
shoot
right? Anyway,
heroin, but if you can fucking smoke in your state, they're saying, okay, because there were people that became partners and other people that got freaked out. Now that like a lot of content creators that were small that watched other people go big all jumped on the let's fucking ban this fucker, and then
mm-hmm.
it will watch, and then they all sat there and went, what the fuck?
Why
And
is he still
we're like,
here?
why didn't he do it? And they don't give a fuck. And they all, like, I was like, dude, they don't. I was just because it basically, it happened on a meme for me where I was sitting back one day and I saw somebody smoking, so I just followed him, and I just sit back and so far have watched this ride of like rise to fame and heard all these
Is it
stories
a
and just
just
been like,
chatting stream?
this is crazy. No, they play a lot of different games in general. They're a variety gamer.
Okay, one of
And
us.
fairly big. Yeah, fairly big. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And uh Yeah, I don't think they would mind if I threw the name out, but I don't think I will for some reason.
That's up to you, man. It's like, especially if folks want context. I mean, I guess we should believe in human autonomy and give people, if they want to know, they'll ask, right? Like, if
Right?
you can
Like,
put it in chat because I'm interested, but I know that if you tell me out loud, I'll forget. So,
right.
well, and so I think that kind of lends into the topic overall, and asking.
I will also say,
Go ahead.
right now, I know of a person on stream that has been streaming for 700 hours at all at once. So that's going over 2 Twitch guidelines right now because they're also sleeping on stream for the majority
And you're
of
not
it.
allowed to do that.
They're not allowed to do that, and you're not allowed to go longer than 48 hours.
Really?
So
Well, so what? So does it say that there needs to be a break? Do you just have to turn it off and turn it back on again?
100%, because I also know a wildlife cam that goes 24/7, and when I host them, the only reason I fucking stop is when they take their break that they're supposed to at 47 hours and 59 minutes.
And then they just start the stream back up. And
And then they start it 1 minute later
so
and
this person who's
continue
been live
again.
for 700 hours doesn't do that.
And this other person that I know that's been live for 700 hours doesn't do that, and Twitch doesn't give a fuck. So
So the answer is even though we're not getting busted or taken down for smoking weed on Twitch, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's something we could be doing. And
it
I
still
wasn't
means
lying
there's
when I
that
said I
gray
read the
area where
affiliate
I
thing.
feel I'm
Yeah,
okay
me
or I
too.
wouldn't be
Yeah,
doing it,
right,
but there's other people that I know they're doing shit you shouldn't, and they're not getting punished,
right.
so
So like,
I could be in that gray area that I
well,
don't know about.
and only to lightly touch on it because we mentioned we didn't want to talk about it, but now they're banning words that like people don't give a fuck about. So like, not only are
Right.
they not focusing on areas where they say they're focusing, but they're also focusing on areas that we don't give a fuck about.
Did you watch the Twitch, the recent Twitch VOD where they,
No, I don't.
addressed certain
I don't,
issues?
bro. I don't. Honestly, it
I had to.
infuriates me.
As
Okay, tell me
as
more.
a content creator, I had to watch a
Tell
little
me
bit. I'll
more.
give you a little clip notes because I got a little clip notes. Um, they did advertising. They stretched a little bit on advertising, and they admitted that their advertising is kind of a fail.
Yeah, dude.
But
Enroll drives me away from a stream faster than anything else.
they basically said like I've tried to click on people's streams, and when you see a new person, hey, I've never seen Jupiter before. I've never let me click on him, and then all of a sudden ad wall
Yeah, for like 3 minutes
for
sometimes. Yeah.
unclickable, and you go to YouTube or anything else, you can't click away. There's things that are made easy that they say they're trying to make. Now they're trying to just make it worse. They say targeted, which I don't think is going to make better. That's just going to make it more targeted.
Right.
And
That's just
they
a
were talking
corporate
more
way of them
about
saying we're going to do something, but it's not going to be anything meaningful to you. We're just putting action to words
yes,
so that you feel like we're
yes.
doing something.
They talked about like it's the creator's always running ads. That's where all the ads come from, not us running these. But yeah, we have to make money. It's like, do you have any idea how much money you guys fucking have now?
Right, right,
Because
right,
of this, everything that Twitch has rolled out is revenue based
right. Well,
for the
and
last fucking year and
right.
a half now.
And Soda Poppin' has 30,000 subs. 30,000 subs. If there were still a
And it doesn't matter.
50-50 split there, that's a lot of money for that company.
I still think you take all the partners. I still think you take it could be a 50-50, but I still think you take all the partners and you take all the affiliates and you take half that revenue that's going to Twitch. I think the affiliates are giving Twitch more money
Oh,
than the partners.
absolutely. Well, and that was the most genius marketing move that Twitch has ever done, was introduce affiliate, because it was, hey, if you can give yourself
Uh-huh.
this attainable goal, we'll give you a way to bring money to yourself, but secretly they mean to themselves. Because if I've been in Twitch streams where they talked about their splits, even though contractually they're not allowed to. We know that.
I've seen partners do it. So
Yeah,
like
well, and in
actually
the partner
show it on
contract,
stream and be like, yeah, look at this.
right,
And I'm like,
right, and
whoa.
in the partner
Yeah.
contract, you're not allowed to, because
Oh, you're
people have
not.
shown the partner contract, which you're also not
And they
allowed
say
to
the
stream.
split is bull.
Yes,
Yeah, I said like
yes.
I'm like, whoa, look at this split.
Holy
Yeah,
shit! So you're
guys,
telling me that
yeah.
this person is making $240,000 a month, and so, but yes, because all of these people, sure, all of us small streamers have like what, anywhere from 0 to 100 to maybe 200 subs if we're starting to get some real traction there. But
Roughly,
like,
yep.
that's just
I've
people
seen
that we
less
know.
with, yep.
Basically, you've introduced word of mouth marketing, especially by getting with Amazon and doing Amazon Prime free sub, and very intentionally making it to where that sub does not auto renew because it drives traffic back to their site on purpose, then I think affiliates make Twitch way more money because there is way more of them, and that engages a whole new audience that they had no chance of engaging otherwise, which are the poor victims of my Facebook feed when I say, "Hey, my talk show's live. Come hang out for a little bit." Right? They're like, "Oh shit," and then
I will say I do not. I've been checking out other Twitch streams
yeah,
that focus on weed in general,
yeah,
and I've noticed there's a couple gaining traction that are really just garden streams. Like I'm doing gardening of marijuana. Come check me out. Hey, I'm literally just trimming for 8 hours. And that actually gaining traction. I've
I
not
believe
yet
that.
seen a partner from weed, but I am seeing
That'd be interesting.
partner-ish numbers from what I'm seeing. And it's like, because
So
I had
maybe like
somebody, like
Zoom,
I had somebody I was at, and they got followed, or they hosted somebody else, and they went, "Oh, were you gaming?" Is like, "I wish I was too busy trimming." And I'm like,
right?
"The fuck? Well, how are you?" And I was like, "Oh, he literally sat there and trimmed for fucking 7 hours and talked to chat." I was like, "I've trimmed. You know how many times I've trimmed for hours and hours and hours and hours? I've never once trimmed on stream. It was all right, trim, 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 stream.
Right.
There was I wouldn't even come across my mind. So that to me is just groundbreaking. That's now content on Twitch that's not being taken down. If anything, it's celebrated.
Yeah, it's getting a lot. Well, and it'd be interesting to see if a stream of that origin does get partnered, because like I said, we need a lot more clarity on a lot of things on Twitch, and weed is probably, and I would say consumption in general, but specifically weed because it doesn't have the same effects that alcohol does. I think that making a blanket, hey, do or don't imbibe these substances list is fucking stupid, as Richard Nixon has highlighted. That I think that there needs to be absolute and definitive clarity on where they stand on weed, especially if it pertains to partnership. Like, hey, just to be, especially for a company who says we're transparent. Like, put in a partner contract. Hey, until it's federally legal, you can't smoke weed on stream. We get it, it's legal there, but you're representing us now. Try not to do that anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, at least give us, because at that point, then people can make a informed decision on, I'm gonna stop smoking on stream so I can be partner, or I'm going to keep smoking until that's not longer a thing, and I don't care about being a partner until that's the time, right? So
And
I,
it's like, I don't know if people
there's
are doing that. Like
so much
most people get partner, then they
ambiguity,
change their direction anyway,
right?
So it's like, did they get told? And I haven't really reached out to these people. Hey, did they tell you to slow the fuck down? But I noticed you stopped chiefing way fucking a lot.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like
I think that'd be interesting to find out, to see if those were the reasons. And I mean, I know obviously I'll keep you informed if that ever comes across my doorstep in terms of
I also
opportunity.
have another question for you.
Hit me. And I just want to say soon we need to use this beautiful segue in streaming to talk about your stream and your content. So I'm going to answer your question, and then we're going to make a conclusion for our weed and streaming, and then we're going to get into your stuff, if that's okay.
Oh, good.
Cool.
So
Send it.
we were talking about you having to stress on like this isn't a drunk stream or like a drinking stream,
Right.
but like how do you feel about like we're more smoking socially,
Sure.
normalizing being a regular smoker. But if anything, what I'm saying is if I'm going on another place, it's hey, like look at my 5 pound or 5 gram joint, or I'm like, this is me, this is why I've been streaming a little bit, like hey, look at my little stem, like
I've seen
it's
it.
like
Yeah.
I'm gonna stream it's like they're smoking at such an excess that it's almost like they're creating bad habits, and almost that level I feel is, oh, it's either it's
Oh, like
overused, but it's also
self-damaging,
like almost so like to a point where
which
it's
is a violation of Twitch's
which
TOS.
to it would make it more of a gray area and hurt us as social regular smokers of, hey, I'm doing like,
Oh, because it
look
would
at me,
create a
I'm
bad
dabbing till I'm
representation.
passing out,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
just that is where it's really,
Oh,
but I've
because
been
it's like
seeing that
kids
more.
eating Tide Pods, right? Now all of our Tide Pods have child-safe locks on them when they used to come in just a little box. Like, not to get into the whole, oh my god, those stupid millennials, because I fucking hate generational talk. But, like, there is something to be said about precedents created in industry through negative representation, and I think that you're absolutely right. I think that that is a risk. I think that that is a liability to us as content creators who consume socially, um, and like, I guess I don't want to say habitually, but like as part of a routinely, right? As part of their day to day. I think that that's absolutely. Is that the question? Is to be clear? Is do I think
Yeah,
that's a
because
detriment?
I
Yeah,
don't feel because you're not when you're going live on like a Wednesday, your stream isn't smoking fucking smoking till I drop or
yeah,
fucking I'm
yeah,
smoking my fucking my the biggest fucking J or look at this it's a baby's arm y'all like
yeah.
no you're like hey I'm playing Guild Wars and I'm smoking regularly like
Sure, sure.
it's yeah, that overuse, that draw, I feel is just it brings attention to
The
it
whole
in a
situation.
negative
Yeah,
way,
yeah. Well, I mean, and
and it's
there's
one
just
of the
something.
few times it's in a negative light
I
in
think so too.
on the platform.
I think so too. That's a good way to highlight that struggle for sure. Well, and I would be lying if I said I never did a turn up stream, right? Especially like on Friday nights, it's hey, come play Mario Kart with us on a Friday night. Let's get real fucking stoned. And then it was hey guys, look at this fucking joint I'm lighting. And like I said, just again the channel points thing, the whole hey smoke a joint with me.
Every
But it's
once in a
not
while,
like
I have
right. But it's
it's
not a
like that
every
would be a
fucking day
social
thing.
event, but
Right.
yes.
Well, but and we do also have to highlight the differences in effect between drinking and smoking because I mean there's science to prove that you are far more inhibited while you're drinking and far more likely to ignore your best judgment. What you need as a content creator, you need to be aware of what you're creating and putting onto the internet and like
I will say I've never blacked out while smoking,
right, me either. Ever.
and I've
Ever.
never poured beer down a woman's pants when I smoked too much, but I've done it while I was drinking.
Right. Well, exactly. There's shit that I've done drunk that I would never ever do normally.
Like, why
So
would I
yeah.
do that
So
shit
so
when I'm smoking?
so I
But when
think
you're
it's
drinking, you're just like, I got a great idea,
yeah.
y'all. Like, it's
Let
a
me
whole
tell you.
different
I bet
mentality.
you if we packed that snow, we could make a ramp. Yeah, no shit. Well, and there's a whole ass trope about drunk people doing stupid shit and breaking shit, and like that's a whole ass thing. But high people, and I guess this is probably a way where the stigma associated with laziness is probably beneficial. But high people are far more likely to get stoned, sit around, and kill a bag of flaming hot Cheetos, right? Like
We
um,
talk about food a lot
that's
because
what
we
I'm saying.
probably
Well,
all
because
have the
that's what we're thinking
munchies,
about.
you
I have
know?
the munchies right now. Like that's so. I mean, there is something to be said. That stereotype probably does exist for a bit of a reason, but I think that it's also defended us a bit in terms of oh my
Another
god,
idea you can share with me on,
yeah,
get a little box, little box.
yeah,
Make yourself little treats, little
treats,
snacks.
okay.
Get high, let your viewers get yourself like you guys
You
can eat the
they get
same
to
shit.
they get oh
They get the little box too.
uh
You
huh.
can have it, you know.
Are you
Oh
talking about
shit! Oh, we're
like a pre-made
eating the
box of
gummy
candy?
bears.
Let's have the
Little
fucking
pre-made fucking whatever, like it's
well,
crackers,
because they're
whatever
all
you
over the
fucking
place
wanted.
for Christmas too. Like, hey, here I bought
Hmm.
this tin at Walmart. It has this sausages and cheese. I'm gonna indulge a little bit. Yeah, that's
Just like yeah, we're doing a chip and something night, and everyone's
there. You
like, oh
go.
fuck yeah,
Hey,
I'm
what do you
fucking
think
rocking
about
it.
that one chip challenge that everybody's doing? Have you eaten that thing?
All right, I'll be real. Anything that fucks with your body while streaming, I'm
Bad
not a
idea.
fan of.
No.
I've already
Well,
tried it
except
during
for
the I
weed, right? Like,
except that doesn't fuck up my body. That
right.
enhances my
Oh,
body
oh,
at
I
this
see what
point.
you mean. I see what you mean. That like
If
that
it ever
causes.
fucked me up, I would stop and then it would go down. Like
I
there's
see what you mean.
no
There's a
like I
line.
would
There's a
never keep
line.
going up. Yes, but like I've done a subathon where I've only done one subathon ever. But I tried to do like crazy shit where one time I was like, oh, I'll try all these different sodas and tell you what that was like taste test them. It's like I felt sick to my anything that makes you not want to be there for some reason you have to be there, whether
Oh,
it's a
oh,
hot chip or something,
yes.
I feel
I
is
agree with you.
totally detrimental to you.
I feel like a monkey doing backflips when I do stuff like
Yeah, you're
that,
like,
right?
"Hey, I fucking hate my
Well,
life, but hi, I'm here."
hi,
Like,
I'm glad
no,
you
no,
like
no,
to
no, no,
see
no,
me
no.
crying. Yeah, I agree. I'm 100% in the same boat. Well,
That's how you end a stream. Like,
yeah,
and I'm done.
yeah,
Like, hey, this is the last bit. You're gonna see this. I'm gonna cry, and then I'm gonna go like die for whatever.
right,
Yeah.
right. Well, and I'm in general opposed to suffering as an entertainment
But
source,
didn't they
right?
ban the chip thing? Because isn't that considered a form of self harm? I
I'll be
thought
honest
at
with
some
you.
point.
In regards to what we talked about earlier, I don't keep track of what they ban and they don't ban because they don't seem to keep track of what they ban and they don't
Fuck,
ban.
wouldn't you?
Did you?
You know how many people do the Burt's Bot Harry
Yes.
Potter beans
Yes.
that are
Yeah.
that could be considered sour. It's fucking
Yes.
boogers. That's nasty. I don't
It's
want that.
gross. I'm
Ugh.
not. No.
Ugh.
Yeah. No, I don't. Well, and like I also avoid playing horror games on stream for the same reason, because that is 100% suffering for entertainment as far as I'm concerned.
I stopped, yeah. I used to
Um,
have people do like Outlast and a bunch of things. I
yes,
can't,
yeah. Well,
no.
and I've had folks suggest, hey, you should play a horror
But
game,
suspense horror
and
games,
then
I would say
yes,
good.
well, and
Yes.
get a heart rate monitor, and that sounds entertaining to me just to see like how that affects me from a medical standpoint, but also like I that, and then that leads back into, do I want to be doing something that is creating good content while not also creating content, right? The content creator's dilemma: do I want to do this thing, or do I want to create content while doing this thing? Yeah, dude, it's that's the way it be. Well, we need to stop putting it off and segment into talking about you. I know
I don't want
that
to do
I know. This
it.
is partially why I wanted to make it a priority, because
uh,
I feel like you run into the same thing that I do in terms of hating to self promote and hating to talk about myself, and I hate bringing up the stream thing to anybody who's not there in the stream, and like I don't like it when people shout me out. I feel like I get
dude, I
I
stopped
blush,
talking at places
right?
because it's like 5 minutes of look at me, and I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to take over your show, bro. I
Well,
literally
that's a
just tried to
streamer
say
tip.
hello.
That's a streamer tip that we're gonna come back to. But tell me more about X-ray underscore blacksmith. I was in this part of this one of the streams where you were talking about changing your name. Have we made any other discoveries there? I was also looking up with you. I was going around, and I think Blurt was there, and there was a bunch of other folks who were like Twitch searching usernames for you, letting you know if they were taken or not. Or I was like Googling shit to see if people had already made a whole ass brand out of it. Like, tell us about you, X-Ray.
You're funny.
You're funny.
Huh. The whole thing here is funny.
Why did you? You said you lived in the woods and then you missed people.
So
Why'd you start streaming?
I found out about streaming when it was like Justin TV, the whole
Oh,
StarCraft
same.
competitive shit, and that was like I was like, this is great. I mean, I remember watching Archer on
Oh,
like remember watching TV shows and all this crazy shit and watching competitive, having my boss just talk to me for 3 hours and shit about stuff I had no idea about. But it resonated with me because we talked about it so much.
okay. Your boss
So I
in talking about
thought
Twitch
about just
or Justin TV or?
before just in general.
Oh, okay.
I had a maintenance guy when I used to fix apartments, and he was really into StarCraft. So he would
Okay.
talk about StarCraft, and he would, hey, we're gonna go and watch Justin TV and smoke this big old doobie, and I was like,
That sounds
okay. And
fucking
then he started
great.
to talk about shit, and then tried to teach me StarCraft, and he was just way over my head at the time. And then I ended up, breaking contact. I moved out into the woods, lived on my own, did, some gardening, did some,
Some feeding the
lot of
fish.
changes, did some feeding the fish. That really took, I had 20 acres to take care of, and really just not fuck up, just basically survive.
Yeah.
But I started, got a little unhealthy. Gave
Okay.
myself kidney stones eating out of cans because I didn't have a
Nice.
fridge, so that was
Nice.
fun.
Ouch.
So I kind of had to come back in town, and that's was like the one thing I would miss was like internet and hanging out. The one thing that I really had that would stay the same was RuneScape. So I played that a little
Oh,
bit
okay.
and kind of kept me going and kept me a little bit social. And then I finally got back into town, and one day I picked up StarCraft again randomly one day and started playing it for like a week or so. And I saw that in like one of the little highlights, it said, "Hey, come check out this random person on Twitch." And I'm like, "Twitch? I haven't. Oh yeah, that looks like that's the music. Check this out." And I'm like, I had this. Wait a minute, regular people?
Oh,
Wait,
so you're
regular
saying that you were
people are
introduced to
streaming
Twitch when it
content?
was Justin TV competitive StarCraft, which I used to
Yep.
watch too, right? Like I was all about the StarCraft pros.
Like all the pro, yeah, all
Right.
it was
I
pro
love
stuff. You
the
couldn't
lag
be a
TV,
yeah.
when cheese fails, right? Like
Hmm.
all of the StarCraft content. That was how I got through the GameStop days. In reference to what we were talking about earlier with
Right.
StarCraft 2.
That was on
And then
my
I remember
monitor on
the
the other side.
transition
Yep.
from Justin TV to Twitch and how it became, and then YouTube gaming became a thing, and then Facebook gaming
Hmm.
became a thing, and then like this whole ad. So you're saying that you were absent from society during that whole
I kind of
transition.
missed the
So oh, holy shit!
transition.
So it went from that
Yeah.
underground like That was like the place to be on the internet if you were a fucking like
Yeah,
real
like,
nerd
that was, like,
was
yeah, it
right,
was, like, the nerd
right,
spot again. I was like, "Dude,
right.
this is the
That's
shit."
where all the
Yeah, I was like,
fucking
"This is
hot
the
memes
shit."
are coming out. Was yeah, the start yeah, and
Uh-huh.
then you come in and it's every person and I don't know about you, but like every other person I know creates content either on Twitch or otherwise
I know
as
so
like
many now. Yeah,
so it's
it's a
almost
lot.
become like a societal norm. Oh, hey, what's your Twitch? Well, and I honestly, a lot of people, I see a lot of people complaining about that on Twitch. It's not how it used to be, but I honestly think it's the opposite. I think it's awesome to have another way to look into another person's life and interact with them and kind
Well,
of
I
be
think 'cause it's
genuine.
it's nice a lot of people are following their dreams.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that are starting that are making it big that are gonna keep up, and I think there's a lot of people starting that are gonna give it a shot and then maybe not continue it because
Well,
they didn't
right.
get where they wanted
Well,
to or
and the
go, "This
downsides are
just
a
isn't for
surprise,
me,
aren't
it
they?
takes a lot of time,"
Yeah.
but they know, and there's so many people I know that have just started because they had the idea and they wanna try it. It's
Yeah.
like, "Go ahead and try it
Yeah. See how it
and
fits.
feel it out, see what
Yeah.
it's
It's
like."
not
You
for
may not
everybody.
explode, but
Well, and
you'll find somebody. You'll
exactly.
find somebody, and that's what's important.
Exactly. Well, and again, the downsides they sneak up on you, right? Not a lot of people think about how much effort it takes to stay relevant, both in creating content and how much anxiety comes with like what do they call it when writer's block for like creativity, right? Sometimes you just don't feel like making content or like which is the case for me. And we'll come back to that because I know you asked
Writer's
earlier
block.
I stream block, whatever. When you get into a mood where you're not feeling creative, like that happens, and then you start to feel guilty about it, or I felt started to feel guilty about it, and then you ask yourself, is this for me? And you do the whole thing. It's like a whole that's in books and shit, like the Valley of Doom or whatever it's called, where you feel like this isn't for me and I don't want to do this. And that's when some people decide, hey, that was fun, but it's not something I want to do, or I don't want to put in the effort, like you said, that it takes to be where I want to be, or I don't have that in me, or I don't have that skill, right? I'm sure a lot of folks have asked themselves that question: do I have what it takes to be where I want to be? For sure, man. I That's a good way to word it. So when it comes to you and your stream, what are some of the difficulties that you face to come back to that question that Bruff asked in regards to streaming, be it mentally, physically, platform wise? What are some of the challenges that you face, and how do you overcome those?
The biggest hurdle, I guess, I guess now, if like, I don't know, I had a different start from when I started. There wasn't an affiliate program.
Right,
Starting now, you have to come up with emotes and almost like a brand and channels and this overlay. And there's just so much. It feels like it would be like overwhelming for me to start now.
right. We
When I
started
started,
slow. Like, wow,
it
maybe I
was
should get one of these.
partner was 300 300 regular followers. It was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh, I never thought never dreamed I was gonna be partnered." I was like,
No,
"Alright, I'm gonna stream," but there was never a thought I was gonna be big when I started. That was
right,
what was cool. But then this affiliate thing came out, and you're like, "Okay, well, we can make this new thing," but I always just wanted to meet people.
right. Same.
But the biggest issue, I guess, would be just, I guess, the stress that Twitch, I guess, puts on you as a label when you as a content creator don't need a partner or affiliate
Okay.
status, so to
Okay.
speak. Like, I went to
Especially with
TwitchCon
the emails, like
2018.
check out these new tools we gave you to make your content even more appealing.
Basically, Better Twitch TV was out. They had all these emotes available and people were using them, and Twitch saw they were losing revenue.
Right.
They changed my donation button to a fucking sub button that's easier to see and gives them half their fucking rev. And it's like, cool, but that's been the thing they've been working on. First thing they wanted to fix was something else: gifted subs. How do we get more of other people's money fast? It's like, dude, can you? The bits were great, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like all of it, all their changes have been monetary. What's their biggest new
Right.
thing? A
Meanwhile, we
hype
don't know shit
train.
about the weed
Why
rules.
do we give a fuck about a hype train when you can't fix DMCA
Yes,
shit?
good
Like,
example.
what is
Well,
this
and
weird
YouTube
shit?
YouTube has licensed their music use on their platform for how long now?
Facebook has licensed
Facebook,
their Facebook has
and YouTube's
regulated a
been doing
deal.
it for like
YouTube has a
4
deal.
fucking
YouTube
years.
has ad deals. There's been so many people talking about
Hey,
fantastic
yes,
ways for Twitch to
yes.
fix their ad ways, and that they actually talk to the partners about um just make all, because basically the people are getting mad that they're not getting enough per person, especially with like the Spotify shit.
Because we're
Because if
all
I
just
have
cows
10
made for
viewers,
cash,
we
right?
should have to pay
Yeah.
a sub fee. Just like as a broadcaster, I should be able to get a fucking broadcaster license
Mm-hmm.
and do whatever I want. I should be a flat fee and be able to go. If somebody else can,
Right.
why can't I as a streamer?
Especially
All the
because where's
DMCA
that
shit was
two
written in
dollars and 50 cents
1989 or
going?
something. It
Right.
doesn't make any sense.
Right.
They should
We're
have
right.
regulated shit, and they keep
Especially
working on
yes.
stream beats and weird bullshit
Right.
nobody gives a fuck
Weird
about. People want to
workarounds.
listen to Eminem
Like
and System of a
remove your
Down
music from
and
your VOD
yeah.
with this integrated tool that like. And I know, like I said,
And no, that's their newest thing.
we'll
Their
move
newest
away
thing
from this
is
because
we
I know
can
that you
make it
didn't want to be.
easier for you to
Yeah.
change your VODs. We don't
Yeah.
give a fuck. We don't want to
No,
change our
we want
VODs,
to be
bro.
able to do what we want to do. Well, and I don't know
Yeah.
about you, but for them to say, hey, delete all of the hard work that you put into our platform, delete all of these hilarious moments and memories that you had, or buy a hard drive big enough to save them all and hope that they don't corrupt in the massive download that you're about to do, right? Or like, I find that to be completely asinine. And like I said,
It showed everybody real quick where
what their
Twitch
priorities
has,
were. Yeah.
yeah, as far as the thing.
Well,
It
and
says
we
they
know they're
caught
not
up for it,
hurting for
but
money, dude. We know they're not hurting for money. We see the distributions, we see the numbers. As many rules as you make, which by the way feels like a violation of wage discussion laws, that people can't talk about their shit like that, and then you don't give us the tools that we need to actually make you more money. Like I don't think that they understand that if they put the effort where we want them to put in the effort, we would also make them more money by making more content. Right, and it would be more
right.
entertaining content, it would be more high quality content that actually engages people and promotes viewership instead of, oh look, this person's here for 15 seconds, better get them on the gifted sub train. Look, a hype train, you better spend $600 to show this person you love them.
I mean,
Yes.
the fact that I have and you have the word, it takes everybody a while to get. It's the word community.
Yes.
But Twitch throws the word community around a lot. It's
Yes.
their buzzword, and it's just
Yes.
it really gets me because it's not for it. Like I'm supposed to meet somebody and fight. That's not how life works. No, you're a person. You're like I don't know you guys. Let's just talk. You don't have to be best friends right off the bat. We're just gonna be a person. We're gonna hang out and watch a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or like
that's this.
the DMCA strikes for music and games blows my fucking mind. It blows. And like I said, I know that you said you didn't want to talk about the state of Twitch right now, so we're gonna touch and go on this one. But it sounds like, to summarize, this biggest struggle so far is actually dealing with the platform that we stream on. The rest of it has been pretty bitchin' otherwise, it sounds like, right?
The fact is, Twitch right now should be a forefront and a leader in all fucking things streaming,
Because they have
and they're
that platform. They
struggling,
have that.
and I mean,
Yeah.
Mixer's died out. They really, we have,
Right.
they've been going so hard, and they were like, oh, we're still in our early days. We should be like,
No, they're
no, you're
not, bro.
not,
Justin
dude.
TV was your early days. Yeah.
You come on, man. You're in your 30s and you're thinking you're in your 20s. Like, dude,
Right.
no, you're not, man.
Sell
It
the
was so hard
T-Bird.
to
Stop
hear.
drinking so
Yeah,
much
like,
Natty Light. Put on the fucking
you're
tie,
closer to
dude.
40 than 20 right now. When
Yeah,
you look
dude.
at it, like,
Yeah. Well, and all YouTube has to do is take care of this in a way that they take care of it, and then market the fact that they took care of that, and then say that you're not going to have a problem on our platform with this. Boom. Exodus. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. I would move to YouTube
really good
if
for
they did
people
that.
to get creative and original content. I
Sure.
do think that's
Me
the
too.
one thing DMCA is really
And,
good
well,
on.
and it
Is
really
making
does
people
protect the
not
artist
protect. I mean,
in
in
yes.
various forms,
Right.
right?
But
I
to
will say,
a certain
I miss
extent,
Christmas music.
yes.
Like I miss
Me
like
too.
where's I don't like people playing WoW, and there are certain people that was all their content was. I get it.
Yeah.
But I still see partnered streamers doing the same thing they were doing on
Well,
various
and that's
days,
because
not
there's no
giving a shit.
clarity about it, right? They can't strike you
So
if you're
it's
using the music live because of the laws. But if you're creating content in the past
but
to
it
be
has
consumed
everybody
VODs or
nervous
clips,
and not
because
wanting to yeah.
people clip your channel, or because they make the permanent VOD of your channel, and so you either have to turn that off, both clips and saving your VODs, or stop playing DMCA music. But because there was so much vagueness and non-clarity about the rules, like Bruff just said in chat, something even a musician gave him permission, the label gave him permission, he paid for or paid for the song or whatever, or we can get into it about how we're actually giving a shit ton of exposure to a lot of artists by playing their fucking music while we're just sitting here playing video. How many times have you been asked, hey, what song is this? How many times have you seen in your chat exclamation point song?
There's so
Countless,
many
countless
easier
times.
ways to, I mean, they had the Spotify link so you could see
Yes.
it.
And
Like I said,
they
if we
could work with
had a
Spotify. Hey,
thing
let's pay
to
for a
have,
license. They can make an integration, a widget.
it's
They could make a
really
widget.
easy thing, I feel.
Yes, so easy.
But
So
basically, nobody's looked at the laws in a while. It's been like
right,
20 something years.
right,
So I think everyone just needs to go back to where streaming is now, to the point like you were saying. Literally everybody's doing it. It's not 10 people. It's not
right,
100 people.
right,
It's your next door neighbor. It's the
right.
person you see at the grocery store. It's the bagger. It's the waiter.
Especially
It's
in a
the
pandemic, this is
waitress.
how
You
people are
never
staying in
fucking know.
touch.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
always people
yeah,
trying it for the first time going, I'm curious because now I've seen so and so doing it. It's
right,
the moms with kids that want to try it.
right,
It's everybody.
right.
I've seen fucking grandpas like, fuck it, I'm Gramps on Gaming Gramps.
Oh
Let's
my
try it
God, and they're
out. Like,
good too. I love the old people who
and some of
destroy
them are
everybody.
fucking kicking my
Yeah,
ass.
yeah,
Fuck.
yeah,
Fuck them.
yeah. Well,
I get my
I
ass
mean,
kicked by the 80-year-olds and the 12-year-olds, all up and down.
that's a good encapsulation of, I think not just the struggles that you face as a content creator or that we face as content creators, but really like a struggle of this new kind of precedent set in social life. Because I said earlier, a lot of people are making Twitch or doing their own content, but I didn't clarify. I think that's fucking awesome. I think it's
Right.
awesome to see these outward and artistic expressions of folks. I have folks who have started painting. I have folks who started streaming. I have friends who started like burlesque companies and like kinky Instagram, and it's all like so open and free, and people like expressing who they are and inviting folks who are like-minded to like you said earlier, build a community, a genuine community, not community like the word Twitch uses community. And it's fucking beautiful, but it also comes with its own struggles. And it sounds like clarity from the platforms that we use to do that thing is probably one of the biggest struggles then, right? Or at least the ones that you
Yeah.
face. And I know I face for sure.
And
Especially as it relates to weed.
if I could spark up and know that much easier, I'm fine. I'm assuming, which is why I am on the platform and currently sparking up. But
Oh, I just packed a bowl too.
there's a great gray area right now where I could be literally packing my own fucking death warrant, and I don't. Oh, that's a
Right.
gorgeous cat.
Oh, thank you. His name's Hanzo.
But it's just like I really don't know. But you know what? We're at that point. We're risking it
Mm-hmm.
because I feel it's okay.
Me too. Well,
And
and
I love you guys. And why not?
well said, bro.
Quality content.
Cheers, cheers. I will cheers the bong to that. While you're smoking, we'll take turns. I'll also say that I also look at it. I try to look at situations as a whole. What's the possible upsides and downsides? What are the definite upsides and downsides? And how do I feel about whatever situation it is? I think that for me, even if I do get, like, say for instance, this in a world where this episode or whatever clip I make from this episode goes viral or whatever, and Twitch is like, wow, we really should clarify on the fucking weed laws, and I get banned because they're like, holy shit, we can't allow that. At least in my banning, it will be one more step towards clarity for everybody else. Like, oh shit, they banned that guy. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like, it'll be one more data point in the research for people when they Google, hey, should I smoke weed and Twitch stream? And then it's going to be fun to start all over on YouTube. You know what I mean?
And then there'd be people that would be doing it going, not me today. Wasn't me today. Look at
Right,
me. Look at me. Like, that'd
right,
be interesting.
right.
No, for sure.
Well, so a couple of things I want to highlight real quick is I need to smoke too because we already cheersed on it.
Yeah, right. What the fuck?
But also, it's 5 after. So I have so many more questions I want to ask you about content creation. But on the off chance that you were just stalling the one big question until after one, so you didn't have to talk about yourself anymore, I also want to create this as a segue so we can like wrap it up. We can have a conclusion and we can step away. Or do you want to keep chatting about you and where you're going? Because I have more questions. And in regards to you, and because a big part of what I wanted to do this whole talk show thing for was to, like I said earlier, a lot of my friends are creating content, and I want to celebrate those people. I want to shout their name into the void because, like you said earlier, one of these days one of us is going to both be cut out for this, and we're going to be prepared for this, and we're going to want this, so it's going to happen. I think that's one of the beautiful things about this sort of platform, is that if you encounter those obstacles and continue to climb, whatever they may be, it is a path to success. And I hear a lot of people say, well, it's bullshit, it's lucky, it's whoever, however you get discovered. But you know what they say about opportunity being luck meets preparation. So if you have a brand built and you have a channel built and you do get an opportunity, and it is luck. You know what I mean? Say, for instance, Snoop Dogg stumbles on this because I put hashtag weed in the title, and all of a sudden we're smoking with Snoop Dogg. Like, in a dream world, right? Like, it will be because there's a brand there, in terms of people like, who is this guy? Oh, look, I can just click on this link tree, and all of his shit is right there. But if you had that opportunity, I'll give you an example. I watch TikToks. I watch the fuck out of TikToks, which is a whole ass other episode, because I think it's a genius way to spy on you. And one of them was this rapper. I don't remember which one, but a really good one was doing a show, and this one person had a shirt on, "Hey, I'm a rapper too." And this rapper said, "Hey, do you have a flash drive with you?" And the guy said, "No, I don't have a flash drive." He's like, "Well, how the fuck am I supposed to know if you're a good rapper? How the fuck, like, what was your goal in wearing that shirt if you had no follow-up, if the shirt worked?" And then he said, come back to my next show and have a flash drive. And he did. The next year he wore the same shirt. He's like, "Hey, are you that guy from last year?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Hey, do you have a flash drive?" He said, "Yeah." And now the dude is like making beats for rappers. So, like, it's about opportunity meets preparation, or luck meets preparation. And I think that has something to be said. Fuck, I forgot the original point, dude. So I want to shout my friends' names into the void in the event that something like that happens. Then I can help elevate those around me. I can help bring more awareness to the people, at least in my life, and who are doing their own thing, who I want more people to see. And you're one of those people. I spend a lot of my late night hours with you, especially now that I'm playing WoW again. I'm getting 6 hours of fucking sleep a night because I'm doing dungeons and PvP. But you know, it gets a little lonely in the pandemic, and I'm watching people's streams. And you know, of course, I have the big WoW streamers followed, so I can learn the arena stuff. But if I'm looking to just chill and socialize, you and the Karma crew specifically are a fucking cool group of people. So I want to celebrate more of that. So now that I've given you that huge, grand proposal, would you like to continue talking about your brand, or would you like to wrap it up?
All right, sure. I just want to say, in general, good vibes here, man. I haven't actually had, since this whole like 2020 shit going on, I can't really be a social smoker. And when I like create content when I'm smoking, there's a delay and I don't really get this back and forth. So this actually feels more like a social group circle that I've actually felt in a while. So this is good. I needed this. I hope everyone in
Well, that's what I'm
chat
aiming
and out
for
there
here.
in the
Yeah.
video really feels this. This is it's a good time. I'm enjoying the vibe here, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for
Well,
having me on.
yeah, man. I'm glad you said that,
Um,
because that's what we're aiming for, right? Just vibing.
when it comes to the content, when it came back, like I'm gonna start over. Like when we first started, like we thought about like we saw that it was going for everybody, right? Like okay, everybody can do it, and we didn't go live for 2 weeks. Took us 2 weeks to figure out what the fuck we want to do. We didn't really think of a lot. We thought of a couple names. We were going by X-Ray. We were really trying to think of our own brand. So we thought of X-Ray Blacksmith because we couldn't come up with X-Ray. He was already a thing, and we
It
didn't come
sounds
up
like
with
a busy one,
Blacksmith.
yeah.
They were already a
Also
thing.
sounds like a busy one, yeah.
It's like, all right, fuck. So it's like, fuck it, we'll just combine them. And then we looked up Google. There wasn't anything about it. I'm like, cool. If I wanted to make this a thing,
There's your opportunity.
there's no competition,
Right.
right? So it was like, fuck. I kind of just went, I like it, and I'm gonna go with it. And I didn't really know anything about Twitch. I didn't do any networking. I watched one guy a little bit. I asked one guy like, "Hey man, what the fuck is this Twitch thing about?" And he wasn't a dick, which was cool. And
Yeah.
I still hang out and follow him and chill, which is nice. And then I think I watched one more person and was like, "Okay, this is kind of weird." Like walking around. Then I just said, "I'm gonna." It was really creepy how like I downloaded the program, hit start, and I got so nerve wracking. Like I hit the start button and I was live. And I'm like, oh my God, someone's gonna see this.
This
Like
can be
someone was
consumed, yeah.
honestly gonna
Well,
fucking see this.
yes,
Like
yeah.
really. And then I'm like, oh God. And I was like, dude, that was creepy how
Do
and
you
then
still
I
get
just
that? Do you still get that feeling in your gut before every time you press start streaming?
Dude, no, I get excited. It's to be
Really?
honest, I get really excited. No,
But
it's
but there's
so
still a bit of a shift in your mood from what it
no, I have
normally
to
is
go.
before you
Oh,
hit
for
start
sure.
streaming.
No,
Okay.
there's a no. But there are times I'm super depressed or not really excited, or I'm tired. I just woke up, or I just got home, and I'm just like, dude, fuck. But dude, fuck no isn't really what people want to see.
True.
I want to be there. I want to be excited to see people. It's like, hey,
Okay.
buddy, boys, what's up, my friends? This is, and then all of a sudden that my friends show up, and I'm like, holy shit, I am excited to be here. This is my shit. I didn't want to be a Debbie Downer and then be like, oh,
Sure,
you picked me
sure.
out of it. Like it's a whole different vibe.
So
So
that kind of answers the next part of the question, which is how do you feel on those days where you do wake up or you do get home or whatever the case may be and you're not feeling it and then you do stream, you switch to wanting to, and then afterward does the vibe continue or do you go back to damn now I'm super exhausted?
um well, that my schedule really goes till I'm done. Like
Yeah,
my schedule
especially in the
goes till
winter.
2 a.m.
Yeah.
Like my schedule goes till 2 a.m. and most like yeah, I'm like seasonal. So I usually don't stay up that much later. Maybe at best 3, like a dewind period at best. But no,
Yeah,
I'm usually
same,
pretty
same.
hype. My stream gives me a reason to show up. You know what I mean? Like they're when you're not being fake and you're not having to put on a character in a show and you're just genuinely showing up and being yourself, you 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 wanna show up for them?
True.
I always consider it like I'm a business, like I'm a bartender, I'm somewhat of an open place,
Sure.
and they can't get in unless I open the fucking door, and that's going live. And once I open the door, hey, there they are.
There you
Hey,
go.
hey, I see you, I see
Yeah,
you. Hey,
yeah.
go your
Welcome,
spot's
welcome.
there. Go ahead,
Yeah, yeah.
welcome in, go and talk, go ahead. Yep. Sorry I'm late. I'm sorry I couldn't open, or
Right,
sorry
right.
I'm early. It's a whole vibe, but I have to be the person that starts it. But the thought of like I have to do the keys or I have to open the door and let them in.
Yeah.
I took a break to get my lady up here when I took a break to Arizona and I was off for a week.
Okay.
I watched content there. I am so judgy of content.
Me too, dude.
I like,
Me
dude,
too.
I watch it and I'm like, dude, why do you have this? Why
Why?
do you have
What?
all these people?
And
Why are you
do you
watching
just
this? Why
always
I'm
type
already
it in
bored.
chat and
What's
then
going
delete
this?
it? I
And
always type
uh,
it in chat, Control Alt Delete it,
like I
like
I don't
so often.
really ever want I never really talk in most streams. You're
Me
right.
either.
I very rarely interject myself, but I'm just like, okay, this is what they're doing. This is what I not like. Why? Okay, I definitely wouldn't do it. Okay, that's why there's 5 people here and he's not talking to anybody. Dude, no one's even talking to you. Like it's different. I like so I like to create. I realized how
Because
much
you
I
wanted to
enjoy it.
be
I want to do
that
it
out
for
there and
them.
available for the people who were looking for the same things that you were looking for in that content.
Well, I was an only child
Okay.
that we had one TV. So when I wanted to play a video game,
You
I
just
had
played
to
the video game.
play a video game.
Okay.
I had to when I played GTA, I couldn't just fuck off and I had to be entertaining. And that's they're like, I would rather watch fucking The Price is Right or fucking Golden Girls or some shit. No,
Oh,
I had to
because
put on a show.
otherwise, if you
That
don't,
was the
you're not playing
shit.
your games.
Yeah. So I'm
Okay.
like I was
Okay.
constantly trying to be entertaining. I wasn't necessarily quipping, but I was
Oh,
constantly wanting to show the best
of the
content
game.
without at
Right.
a young age, without even realizing it,
Right.
at it
Right.
like to my mom, to my grandpa, to my dad, to whoever was
Shit. What a way
by.
to fuel that, man.
Um,
Well, and see,
and
I grew up
then to
as a
move that here was just I love it.
that's a beautiful natural transition. That's crazy that like naturally progresses into something like that
I
is
don't think kids
the
have that
adult
now. They have their
version of
phone.
that.
Like it's a
Well,
different. They
but
don't
but
have the
now there
one
are kids that
TV,
are
the small.
streaming, right? Which terrifies me because I feel like drugs and drinking. Wait till you're an adult before you start making permanent life decisions. Which streaming is that it's on the internet, it's forever, right? But it's crazy that that's such a natural progression because for me it was the opposite. I grew up in a video games as a babysitter house where
Okay.
and it was multiple kids, and I was the oldest sibling taking care of my younger siblings, while also once they've been sufficiently subjugated and entertained to their fucking movies I get to play my video games, right? So like
Okay.
But it was so the streaming thing for me was, especially after I started smoking it, was, hey, I've noticed that you're talking out loud while you're gaming and you're thinking about things. Why don't you record it and see what happens? And a lot of times I watch the streams the next day and laugh because the shit I was saying was stupid or funny, but like it's more of a way of why not for me versus it sounds like for you. Well, and I wish that I could be as inspired as you are when it comes to streaming. Because for me, that gut feeling, and I have a policy of honesty even when it sucks. So as much as I'd love to agree with you, because I feel like that makes a beautiful community, to use that word, that's a very genuine. Like Garu lady here is here, for example. Hi, by the way. I see them in your streams all the time, right? So like you have a
Yeah, they're good. They're good
community
human.
who follows you and wants to be part of your life even when it's on somebody else's channel, for example, right? And that's a fucking beautiful thing. For me, I felt that too. I felt that sense of not wanting to let people down and wanting to be because I often find myself in situations where folks are asking me for advice in chat or they're talking to me about their life, and I'll ask them, hey, are you just venting or do you want some advice, or do you want to know what
Oh,
I
dude, yeah,
think?
that's always. Do you need me to fix it? Because I can
Right,
fix it, or do you
right.
need me to
Or I
listen to
can
you?
listen. I can say, God damn it. Yeah, right.
I can
So
give you something to fix it. You won't necessarily like what I got to say, but
right. So
uh,
I do have a feeling of dread every time I'm about to hit start streaming because I step into a world of vulnerability, I guess, right? Like it's and like we said, the internet is permanent, so there's always like a little bit of anxiety in the back of my mind of being mindful what I'm doing, and that comes from the gaming industry background too, because I was in community development, and I know a lot of the insidious parts about the internet and the dangerous parts about the internet. So like all of that anxiety sits in the back of my mind, so that does lend to itself before I hit start streaming every time. And then it's not until people come in and start talking to me that I build that hype that you're talking about, because I experienced that too, and I walk away from the stream with it too, especially like on times where I need to wind down, and it's very fulfilling, especially because I'm a social creature too, outside of the stream, that it's pretty fucking awesome to see that for
but
some
like on a
folks, you
day you're not
specifically.
going live, do you have just more of that, and it's not fulfilled, like just more of that anxiety of
Yeah,
not hype, I guess? Because you say you talk to yourself, you're the same way, you're still
yeah,
animated,
I
so
am,
you
yeah.
just would be a little bit less
When you can
sure
ask
of
the
yourself
people on my
anyway.
Discord when I'm playing World of Warcraft, as I do just talk to myself, I commonly just mute my microphone because I'm just talking to myself, and people are like, "Are you streaming?" I'm like, "No," but then it's a ping, a reminder of, "Hey, you probably should be though," because I do get hinges of guilt for like not being available for the folks who would be asking me
Dude,
those
streamer
questions.
guilt for
You know what I
playing
mean?
games on their own is another
Mm-hmm.
fucking whole thing we could
Yeah.
go into, because
Yeah.
I know so many streamers that are just now, like, they just hard, hit partner, and then they just finally started playing games with them for themselves.
Right.
I very try I have been, but there's that guilt feeling. I should be creating content. It should be the doors should be open, but you can't burn yourself out as a content creator
Mm-hmm.
either. You can't make yourself to the point where you're like with my regular landscape work. They're like, if I get recommended here, here, and here, I'm going to be stressed too much where my value is going to go down.
Right.
I don't want to be like, oh, I'm just not really fucking here. And there are some days I'm really using as a cool down to just enjoy the day and be myself, where it is just a little less animated
Yeah.
where I usually would be.
Right. Right. I mean, and well said. Honestly, so that kind of lends me to kind of my next. It's kind of a weird segue, and let's hit chat real quick. Um, Garu says gave us a lot of really beautiful examples of spending time with the people that they love. Well, and that kind of hints back to what you were saying earlier, in terms of building a place where people feel welcomed and people want to participate and share with you, and like people really do look forward to you getting. I know I'm in the, like to give you. I know you speculated, but I'm going to give you the validation that I know several times when I'm feeling a fucking vibe to just chill with somebody. I scroll down the list and I'm gonna razz you a little bit. I hit the see more button on my followers, And then I was like, oh, fuck yeah, X-Ray Blacksmith is streaming. I'm going to fucking watch this motherfucker. Out of all these motherfuckers, I scroll all the way down, which is the Razzie part. Mine is
Yeah.
down there too, buddy.
Dude, dude, I know that's why, dude, that's why I lurk. I look on everyone below 10, but I'm always like, I don't even see the top numbers, man,
No.
but I'm down there and I'm happy to be
Right,
down there.
right. Well, and Twitch, to their credit, did add sorting options for that reason, right? But,
Yeah.
uh,
Oh,
but,
dude,
uh,
that's the old
but
sorting
when you're
system
not
being an
on,
X.
yes,
Shit.
yes,
Always at the bottom. Always at the bottom.
yes. But in terms of looking forward to your streams, yeah, I've been in that part. I've been in that demographic before. With like, oh fuck, or nights where you're not on, and I've got a vibe and I want to chill with somebody. I'm like, well, now who the fuck do I watch? Now who am I gonna put on the big screen? And no, who?
That's why I usually have it. We have enough usually good like people like yourself and like well so many other fucking people we know that I feel like there's somebody on the days that I'm off. But yeah, I don't really feel like anybody holds the same schedule that I do. But
Right.
I have started to see familiar faces in other places, and that's always wonderful to see. Just like
Yes,
to
it's
see the
cool.
community actually like staying a
Travel around.
community,
Yeah.
traveling in packs. It's
Yes.
like, look at you guys, you took the same fan there. That's so fucking cute. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Well, my
so
favorite is when content creators, because I feel like individual bubbles of community become even larger bubbles of community, and then anybody who wants to create content and is shared amongst all of those content creators, and then like everybody's brand builds and grows, and yet it's another, to use a few buzzwords, gigantic capitalism contributing bubble, right? Like, right, but then we become like actually um, successful and able to do our passions collectively as a gigantic group of people, and that's pretty beautiful to see. And again, to circle back to why I kind of want to do this, there's a point I wanted to touch on that you made too, in regards to having to separate your passion for games versus creating content. I totally get that too. And Nick's brought it up in chat too. We stream because we had a love of games first, and we got to be able to get enjoyment from video games on our own time. That's 100% what I do with WoW, because I recognize, especially while I'm like leveling shit, it's not fun to watch. And even though I'm talking out loud, I'm not really doing a lot of things that are entertaining or exciting on the screen.
that's where it is,
And
basically.
but
Yeah.
like lately I've been doing arenas, and it is exciting. And I already have a PvP following from Guild Wars 2 that are interested in arenas, that have reached out to me. Hey, I saw your TikTok. Are you gonna start streaming WoW arenas? And like, so the streamer guild comes back depending on what you're doing in the game, right? And I will say that for to address what Nix was saying, I think it's a bit of both for me. There's never been a day where I'm streaming a game where I'm just not loving the video game that I'm playing, because then I wouldn't be streaming.
Right.
Like it that feels disingenuine, and that's part of what one of my fears is in terms of growing the community and getting to that part where everybody's getting bigger and doing the things that you have to do to get to that point before you can make those statements like we talked about earlier. And kind of just having that collective goal, that also builds a different kind of love for the video games. But in order to make it something that it's easy to come back to, like X-Ray was saying, that excites him before, I'm just going to assume, because it works for me, is whatever pulls me out of my pit of despair before I hit the live stream, which I assume fuels him before he even presses the start button, which amazes me, is that there are people there to share those experiences with and build that knowledge with, and to share those fun experiences with. There's been several times where I've coughed up lungs full of smoke, laughing, watching you fuck around being a cowboy, dude. Like, the shit that y'all do is hilarious to me. So, and
And
those,
that's what's funny about what like Nix is saying is like when you're by
yes,
yourself, when you're creating content, you're like, all right, you have the vibes and you're
right,
doing the thing, and
right,
you're like, okay, you're rifting. And then there are times when you're like, okay, I'm gonna be doing the same exact thing, and then you feel guilty because those same vibes are there, but you're off stream. You're like, all right, damn, this is shitty. But when you're sitting there and you're doing the most boring things ever, like cooking
right,
or
right,
like walking around, it's like I don't feel bad about not streaming that. It's like I really wasn't doing jack and shit.
right.
I'm sorry
Otherwise,
about that. Like,
right,
but there are times, yeah, like I was hanging out with another content creator and we played DBD, and I haven't played DBD offline for off not streamed for the longest time.
Yeah.
We're just like, this is kind of weird. And we were literally talking and laughing the whole time. We were dying. Basically, it's the equivalent of playing Guild Wars and having no flags. We were just like, we're playing, right? Like we're supposed to be playing. Like what's
Right.
happening? We were getting our ass kicked, but we were enjoying every fucking second of it. But we're like, dude, if we were streaming this would be the
It'd be
worst
good
fucking
content.
thing
I've
we
done
would be
that.
doing. Like,
Yeah.
this is awful. Like
I've done that with you and
we were
Grand
laughing.
Theft Auto. When we played Grand Theft Auto that last time, I
Yep.
wasn't streaming. I was like, holy shit! Like we're all having a ball. This would be great.
Like,
Well, and yeah, that's well, and it kind of
and
for
I've
me it
done that
builds
on like a
permanence.
Wednesday or Sunday when I'm not. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go live for 2 hours because this is too good not to
Right.
show. Yeah,
Right. Because you're not the only person that would enjoy that content. And well,
right.
and for me, I have kind of that stony baloney memory, right? So for me, it helps build more permanent memories and bonds in my mind. And in regards to like you and me when we played Overwatch, for example, it helps me build relationships with people based on those permanent shared memories, which makes the community building thing that we're talking about even more genuine because at that point it's just a big ass fucking group of friends just chilling, and then you get more
Like we
genuine
have a
content.
community thing, and
Right.
like we have a community thing coming up. The more
Jesus
I can
Christ.
get all the people going in one game, that's one collective memory that we all have. And I'm trying to do that for mostly every stream. I'll try to find that one thing that we all had a moment. We've seen a moment. We talked about a moment. We played a Jackbox. We did something as a group because we have a great group.
Yes,
You
you
have a
do.
good group, but it's like we just have a really good everyone's a gamer though. Everyone
Yes.
wants to not necessarily be the spotlight, but everyone is really good at choosing when to be around
Right.
and when to be vocal. And that's like when to be in a game. You'll have so many people that I'll have that have played 2 games, but if somebody's new, they'll instantly want to back out. I haven't
Yeah.
seen a lot of communities like, I don't want to fucking be here anymore. They're just
Right.
no, it's like I want
Right.
to be the
Right.
center of attention.
Right.
I love to see that. To the point where I'm like, dude, I actually wanted you to say, why the fuck? Dude, I actually don't really, okay, that person just got here. Can you just calm down? Like, oh,
Right.
let me make a decision. Like, I get it, but let me be the guy. Like, it's so there, yeah.
Right. Right. Well, and just as an example, because that's a beautiful natural segue of your amazing community and how and in how many ways they contribute to not only content but to what makes creating content so special and what it brings us as the creators and how we're able to overcome a lot of the challenges that we talked about today in regards to Twitch is the fact that the viewers, the folks who contribute, even if they're fellow content creators, it gives us a sense of belonging. I'm going to speak for you. I'm going to boldly speak for you there. A sense of
Like it.
belonging and something that is really special and to look forward to. And I mean, especially in 2020 COVID, those things are pretty fucking special, right?
Right.
And they're even stronger. But as a beautiful example of that, fucking Garu lady just donated $20 to the stream and said Merry Christmas. And then she
Dude,
said, "Love your face." Hashtag love your face. Karma Crew for life. Karma
told you
Crew for
she's a good
life.
bean.
Let's go ahead and I'm gonna spam some emotes. I'm gonna spam a bunch of my emotes, and then I'm gonna spam a whole
Put
bunch
some
of
love in the chat
X-ray
for
love.
Guru. Hey, Guru.
X-ray love. I
Thank
love
you
your
for
emotes,
spreading
by the
some
way.
Christmas cheer.
Yeah, that's fucking amazing of you. Thank you so much.
See, that's funny though, because you talked about rebranding earlier. We're
Yeah.
kind of stepping away from those, by the way.
Yeah, are you thinking about not doing it? Honestly, you didn't ask my opinion, so I wasn't going to give it to you. But since you brought it back up, and I'm in the mood, I
I'm
I love
curious.
I love X-Ray Blacksmith. I love it, and you know what? I laughed so fucking hard the time that you said, "Don't fucking forget the underscore." Like it's something that you're clearly, correct me if I'm wrong, self-conscious
Oh,
about.
with positivity to its
Yes,
core, just don't
you
forget the
fucking grabbed it.
underscore. I
You
fucking
flipped
love
it
these
on its
scores.
head,
Yeah,
and
I
like
fucking love that.
you pointed out what at least to you felt like, or it seemed to me to you felt like an elephant in the room, and turned it
Yep.
into part of the brand. And I
Yep.
honestly, if I saw your name as anything other than X-Ray Blacksmith on Twitch, I would be happy that you are taking steps towards your happiness, which is the Southern way of saying I'd be really disappointed, man. Like I
Okay, I'll tell you what. Do you want to know the name that I was going to choose though?
hit me.
And the only really name that I can choose is probably going to be when I turn partner. So if that's the point, it's probably already a moot point anyway.
Hit me.
But the name Blacksmith.
Okay, here's the deal, bro. It was open. You know, we did do that research, and you probably could get that ticket. But I
It's
would.
not open. It has to. It has to. It currently has 2 followers,
Well,
not
but
an
I mean,
account,
but
but it's
not
not
active,
used.
right?
But
So
there's
like,
a lot of other people that are potentially looking at it, and all I
oh,
did
I
was
see what you
have the
mean.
thought of if there was another person lower than me that was gonna blow up for a bigger reason than be just a
like
cleaner
blacksmithing on,
say, like,
yeah,
it's X-ray underscore blacksmith. I've had so many partners come up to me and say, "Bro,
too
I
many
love you.
syllables.
You're just another nice guy on Twitch, and your name's too fucking long. You need to change, blah, 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 blah,
So no,
blah." And
you
I'm like,
don't.
"Fuck."
But there are
So
streamers out
it's
there who have crazy long names. The
and
only
I
thing that
and
you
I
need to
go and
do,
look at all the people, and I go, "But this person, this person, this
yes,
person," I get what they're
but you
saying.
know
They're
what they
just saying
have?
it's harder.
But
They're saying you
they
need
have
a
shortcuts
cam,
to
you
their
need this.
names.
I get it.
All of those people who are saying your name are too long, and you give them the examples. All
And
of the
I
examples that you go look at, like XRB,
say
bro,
it.
XRB.
But that's why at the end of the day, I'm not like my new emotes are all about me.
Good,
Because I thought about what the one thing that isn't changing is the one thing I'm not in the X-ray field anymore. I
sure,
am still a volunteer
fair,
blacksmith. My
fair.
grandpa, we still talk about X-ray shit every time. I still know everybody in the fucking area. It's still a huge part of my life, but it's just not something I'm constantly in. I could
I
still
see.
fucking fix a
So it's
goddamn thing
something
right
you
now if they
also
had
want to
me do it.
remove from your
It's just
brand
it's
as a
not
personal
it,
expression.
not real. It's just that I don't necessarily need it. But so many people were like, dude, if you dropped X-ray, I'm not gonna not call you X-ray. And it's like, that's fine, but that's now an inside thing that we have. Do you not think all my X-ray shit's gonna go away? All that
Right,
shit's gonna be there.
right,
But it's one of those I wasn't quite sure. It's a thing that I thought about, but at the end of the day, I still have a great group for my name, just like
sure.
Bowborne. But look at Bowborne. You're not Bowborne
Well, oh,
underscore
dude, I'll tell you,
underscore
I
Archer
also
man.
put
You
like
know,
three
like
months into that decision because my original gamer name was the Rhythm Wolf, and it still is my League of Legends username. So, like, I've been there, and I've been through the rebranding and finding something that aligns with both my passions but brandability, and this
right,
was the result, right? So I'm telling you from the other side of things that I would also be really happy that you found the thing and you did the thing that you wanted to, because you're right that there is a certain amount of like when folks give us that advice, they're giving us that advice with the idea that we're hoping to get rich quick and that we're hoping to blow up and be the next Summit
right.
1G, right? Like,
And that's
which is
not
not the
really my
goal.
intent.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Honestly, it
But
is just if there was going to be it just sounds, it does to me sounds like I'm be more established.
well,
I'd feel better on the plat. Like
yes.
I would, I can't fit my fucking name into all my goddamn
I
tags.
know. Yeah,
It
it's really hard to fit
sucks.
your name into the fucking box too,
It
bro. Like,
sucks,
yeah.
man.
Well,
But
and here's the other
I
thing.
like some things.
Like exactly what Jupiter said in chat, if you want to change your name and your brand because you feel like you've changed and you've adapted, and you also want to use this opportunity to incorporate this advice that is admittedly useful, if not frustrating, then I think that you should fucking do it and totally do the thing. Just because I said I would look at it and like be a little disappointed, it's because something became a memory instead of an ongoing thing, not necessarily because it'd be
Right.
disappointed in you that you've changed your name. Because I'm going to boldly say we as a member of the Karma crew, and I'm going to boldly say we as in you. I'm going to assume a member of the Archers. We love you, and we've got a pretty good group going. So as long as you're having a good time, we're having a good time, dude. And I would be honest, it would be pretty cool to have to say less syllables when I introduce you at the beginning of it, and the next episode
I
you're
thought
on.
about this right now. It was like, hey man, Blackman's here. It's like that just sounds cleaner.
Yeah, it just rolls off the tongue. Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, if you could get black, I will sign the petition. Hashtag. Hold on. Give
I already
blacksmith
basically
blacksmith.
they won't get rid of it until basically the guy gets the account is inactive. But I talked to enough streamers that I know that was so and so underscore this. I just became this, or drop the numbers, or drop or
The
drop. And I was like,
X's.
how did you do this? And they went, oh, they just give you all this special shit. So at one point we
There
might
you go,
do
Jupiter.
that. Hey man, lurk for a new name before someone gets it. But I've been on some other streams that do just blacksmithing. Do this, get this a
So
blacksmith guy. It's like
you feel
so
that
it's like,
they'd be more
oh
qualified for
shit.
the name?
I also think I want to, well, on at least YouTube stuff, I'm trying to incorporate. It's hard to do on should I say live stream where I'm at right now,
Okay.
but I would love to do some more YouTube stuff incorporating the blacksmithess of it, and just having instructional videos or something to it.
Well, I
So
feel you, dude. I did the same thing with mine. I found better ways to incorporate fucking archery and the bow stuff into the fucking stream. You know,
Right.
I that's a great fucking idea, man. And honestly, that's content I would fucking consume because I'm
But it's
interested in
again,
that.
it's not something that's like I'm very subject to change or hard to change. Like I actually thought about it. I love who I am, and everyone knows me as that. But it's just one of those at the end of the day, one of those things that you think about with
Sure,
rebranding,
sure,
and it's not a thing. It's just in the back of my mind where I'm
sure,
like,
sure.
if I
Well,
had the option, I probably would do it.
exactly. And honestly, one day somebody's gonna cross one thing, one idea, something is either A, gonna push you over that ledge and you're just gonna do the thing. Because all of the channels for you to do the thing exist. All of these platforms you can change your name to just that thing. And it sounds like you're already capable of doing the fucking um rebranding for yourself and doing the research to make sure that it's an available brand and like
Well,
or
I can't even say rebrand because I
sure.
never had a
Well,
brand.
but that's kind of
That was my
where
problem, and I think most streamers get when they first start off
I
is they
totally
have this
disagree that you
big
don't have a brand,
pressure.
bro. I totally disagree. Because every time I think of you, I think of your emotes who are skeletons. Like, I just think of skeletons in general because of you, right? And you know what did it? Is
But I
Stream Raiders. Stream Raiders put this whole brand idea into my mind that you
oh,
are
that did
both.
hit.
And,
No,
and
yeah.
and your fucking your like transition screen. You remember the desk that you made when you were reviewing content? Loved it, by the way.
Still
The
have that. Yep. Yeah, still do.
clearly I'm a more of a lurker here if that's what that
Right.
exposes, right? But the blacksmith, the skeleton blacksmith, like that's a whole ass fucking brand. I think about it all the fucking time. So like it's not that you haven't created a brand, and it's not that you couldn't use those things because if you just changed it to blacksmith, all of that shit would still apply. It would just look
Right.
fucking cool,
It would
right?
just
Like
be a different yeah, it's
right,
like I could still
right,
kinda tweak it to a point, and that's what I mean. It's not necessarily going anywhere. I still have it. I just there's there's finally like I've after 4 years, I can finally fine tune and take all that I've learned in Twitch, and now it's like, if I was starting as something right now, what would I do? And it's
right.
just I'm just sharpening or smoothing the edges, however you
There
wanna
you
say
go.
it. And
Well said.
I like how Guru says a lot of people will add too much, and I really like I'm adding an emote here, and then go sitting back and you feel out the chat. Are they freaking out?
Yeah.
Just like you don't take away all your emotes. You take one away and go, did they notice? Are
Hey,
they
do you
fucking
have an
all mad?
artist for
Are they
your
stupid pissed
emotes
off?
that you recommend,
Um, I have been
or do you do your own?
rolling through artists, it seems, for various reasons. I have one, but they are remaining seeming to want to remain. I have two people working on the stream that want to remain unsolicited, which
Okay,
I find interesting. But the two I have before, I think, are closed and not taking commissions. But I
sure.
do have one I will recommend you. I think her name is Axolotl.
Oh, I
She
follow her.
did
She's great.
she did my hugs emote and a
Yeah.
couple other ones, I think, and that she was really good. But the other ones, they just took a long time. It was like just kind of like it was like a fucking dentist kind of thing. Like, dude, is a fucking. I always feel bad about critiquing someone's art anyway. Like, hey, can you just tweak
Me
this?
too,
Like, can you
dude. Me
not like
too. Well,
it's always
so I
great
commissioned a
and
logo recently from really good artists that I know in real life. And I will say that I have the same anxiety in terms of giving critiques, but also I bullied in my own mind the thought through of, hey, this is a business transaction, this is a service,
right. I had
this
like
is a
I'm paying
product,
them. I
right?
want
Well,
something out
and
of this,
right.
right?
And moreover, if you ask for something the artist is uncomfortable with, it's also that artist's space and I mean, in my opinion, responsibility to say, hey, that's outside of my scope. I'm sorry, I
Absolutely.
can't do this. And then you figure out what you're going to do from there. Like, it has to be a two-way communication, but you have to build that opportunity. So I looked at, like, it helped me fuel through that anxiety. And I got a fucking logo that I love. And it's fucking beautiful. And the artist, you know, seemed like they had an okay job making it. And, you know, I felt like everything went fairly and smoothly. So, like, I feel like because I powered through that kind of fear of giving another person criticism, because it's a business transaction, it helped get a product that both the artist, I assume, and the consumer used. You know what I mean? Can we see the logo? Sure, dude.
I have to ask something.
Hit me.
When we're talking about that, as a content creator, why do you have three emotes?
Oh, okay. So here's the fun part. Because X-Ray, in the last year of my
Now it's
life,
funny because that now I feel like that's an expectation of people,
oh,
and I'm like,
absolutely
what
it
the fuck?
is.
Yeah, it's
Well,
funny.
and
That's so
honestly,
cute of me.
it's something.
Wow.
It's something to be able to provide your community. For me, it's a way
But
to
it
give
is to
back.
a point
You
where
know
I'm
what I
like,
mean?
huh? Like you
Like it
haven't
does
really
feel
opened
like a
those. Yeah.
responsibility, and it does feel like so. I am in the market, right? That's why I asked the question because I'm thinking
Okay.
about I have a bunch of ideas. I have an idea for a transition screen. If somebody wants to steal this, that's cool. Just let me also use it, please. Where a bunch of archers show up at the bottom of the screen, draw the bow back, and when they release, the screen goes with it, and then it's the next fucking scene, right? Like, how fucking cool would that be? But I don't have the skills to animate it. The thing that I do have, and this is related to your question, is an income that provides me the privilege to be able to commission artists. But I do want to start with, and relates to what we talked about
I can
earlier.
pay you fuckers, is what it's saying.
Yes,
Like,
yes. Well, and I want to start with what we talked about earlier in terms of building brands. You know what I mean? In terms of building up the people around us and the people that we already know. This is how we do that, by asking for those recommendations and having people give us those links or those names. You know what I mean? Like, and here's what we were talking about with the logo. That's what we got commissioned, and the artist sent me versions with names, versions with names,
very nice.
versions without names. They gave them to me in all of the right emote sizes that I asked for, in optimized versions of each, so I can use them for badges or emotes, like you were saying.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that it's important for me to be able to shout out other artists that we know. But the reason why I don't have an emotes, because I haven't been streaming, right? Like, I haven't been creating content since the show started, and now more and more I'm slowly convincing myself to start streaming World of Warcraft arenas, because I'm doing some disgustingly fun things in World of Warcraft arenas. And it gives me the optimism that you talked about before you hit the stream, right? It makes me feel like I have something I want to share with the people that I love.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's pretty fucking cool to be able to have stuff like this made. But so, like, my life's been a bit of a roller coaster in terms of IRL. So last July, roughly, last July, not like 2020, but 2019, I got a big promotion at my previous job that also came with a huge shoulder full of responsibilities. But I was always telling myself, hey, I'm going to chase this Twitch thing in my free time when I have time to spare. If that blows up, cool, I'll do the thing. But in the meantime, I need to be also following my professional endeavors, because I can't put all my eggs in one basket. I need to think about the future, and I need to achieve the goals that I have for myself financially. You know what I mean? So, like, I got an opportunity to have a really, like, grown-up job, but it also required, like, 65 hours a week worth of work. So I did the thing, but then I didn't have any energy to stream. And then, like we talked about earlier, I didn't want to press stream and then give people subpar content. And I wasn't able to fuel through that barrier to be able to do the thing, so I stopped streaming. And honestly, for a lot of that time, I also just stopped playing video games. I went into one of my cycles. I have cycles where I just watched a bunch of fucking Netflix, smoked a bunch of weed, watched a bunch of Hulu. You know what I mean?
Usually that's wintertime sometimes
right,
for me.
Right.
Yeah.
So I haven't put any money or thought into building the brand or putting emotes out there or offering those services to my community, because this is one of those, and I call it a hibernation, because a lot of times when you stop streaming for any amount of time, you lose viewership. But a lot of those folks don't stop following you. They just found another person to fill that time slot. And if they see your name, they'll come back. They'll say hi. They'll pop in. And if you create content that engages them like it did the first time, then they'll stay and they'll chat with you. But like, or you'll find new people who, you know what I mean? Or people have left Twitch, or people have entered their cycle where they're creating content and not consuming content. You know what I mean? So, like, now that I'm getting more time back. I've switched jobs. That's the other thing too. I had to find a new job. I got fired from that job because of the whole COVID thing. And then I had to move to an entirely new different city, like on a whim, find a new apartment, move, new job, everything on a fucking whim. But it all kind of worked out because I'm happier than I ever have been. I have a job that I love more than I ever thought I would have in my whole ass life, right? Like I'm you know, the whole do a job that you love, you don't work a day in your life kind of thing. That's me right now. It's pretty cool, but it also affords me time to do things like this, where I can have a talk show every Sunday that runs, you know, an hour over or whatever, and then I can stream. It's a good thing for me, bro. I clear my Sundays for this, so you tell me if you got to go, okay? But the point is that now that I am creating more content, that is something that I am looking at doing, is getting emotes. And then that creates the opportunity. You have to shave your head a little bit more, man. I'm bald as fuck.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
And then I want to create the opportunity for other content creators like this, like by ironically hogging the mic while giving you an opportunity to quote unquote talk about your brand.
Right. Yeah. Right. There we go.
So last question for the whole brand thing.
Okay.
What's your biggest tip? If because I don't know about you, but the biggest tip that I have for folks for streaming is Google stuff. The question that you have for me in the chat, Google it, and then watch the YouTube videos that it shows, because learning by doing is the most beneficial thing. So, like, what tips do you have for people who are trying to create content or stream?
Do it. It's the biggest thing I can give you right now. Um, do it. There are so many people that are hesitant. There are so many people that are on the fence. There are so many people that are waiting to get the right gear, that are waiting to get the right internet, that are waiting to get the right time, that are waiting to get the right blah 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 blah.
There's
Fucking
so many reasons not to do it. Yeah,
fucking do it.
just do it.
I'm just saying, pull the fucking trigger,
Yeah,
start it, try it, and find your niche is what I'm gonna say. That's the biggest thing I will tell people if you're
that's a good tip.
starting to want to try it, because there are so many people I know. I will say most people that watch Twitch streams would like to create content
Right?
to a certain extent.
Sure. Because it looks fun. Because it is fun. Yeah. Well,
Because we all enjoy video games. We all have some kind of passion for either the people or the environment or the community or something we're doing, we're there for. And yeah, that's a lot. Dude, you need one of these, man. They're amazing. It's Bowborne special. It's wintertime. Some good shit.
yeah, dude, I'm bald as fuck, and the winter I
I
will
won't
say
be
is
wearing
cold.
this on our trip, but it's just some good one. I should go like this now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, as far as a brand goes, um, yeah, you got to think about it. I would definitely say take about 2 weeks. Think about think at least 2 weeks. Think about just yourself. Watch some streams. Watch what you like, what you don't
Write
like.
it down.
Just
Write it down. Write all of this down while you're doing it, too. Can I add that
oh,
on?
lot of stuff down. Yes, you got to write. You're gonna have a lot of ideas. Write some stuff down because you're not gonna remember a lot of them. When you start creating content, watch your content. Do you want to watch your content? Why don't you want to
Yeah.
watch your
We know you
content?
hate your voice. Watch it
You're not gonna
anyway. Like, yeah.
or your voice. Your voice is going to be a thing you're going to get over.
Yes,
But
you will get
basically,
used
yeah,
to it. Yeah.
it's are you talking too much? Are you not talking? Why aren't you talking? Are you waiting? You're probably not having anybody to talk to. What do you want to highlight? There's always what do you enjoy about this channel? What do you not enjoy? There's evolutions where you're going to start off and you're going to be excited about 1 penny. And that's gonna be the 1 cent, and then you're gonna be so upset when a streamer goes like that has 1,000 viewers goes,
Yeah.
hey, thanks a lot when he gets 100, but he has fucking 1,600 people that don't give a fuck, and they
Right.
just want him to continue the show. So
Right.
everyone has an evolution of Twitch that they
That's
have to
true.
just
That's true.
understand is their journey.
Well, and I feel like
Your journey, I guess.
I feel like people know that too. Members of the community, at least. Sorry, I think your mic cut out. I saw your mouth talking about it. I didn't hear words. What'd you say?
I just said enjoy your journey,
Yeah,
basically, whatever
yeah.
your journey is.
That's a good tip, man. That's a really good tip. Well, especially because you see that. I don't know about you, but I've seen streams that you're fucking with me, bro. You're fucking with me so bad right now. I was like, oh my god, I'm interrupting again. I'm such a dick. And I was like, wait a minute. You have X-Ray Blacksmith on. X-Ray underscore Blacksmith on. Oh yeah, was it too hot, warm for you? See,
No, I have this little dot thing. I have to put it in the right way. It's feeling weird.
that is the only downside of hats is that oftentimes hats have
There we go.
the special way to wear them.
Dude,
Right?
I'm telling you, I didn't knit this thing, but oh yeah, this is my shit. Ah, this
Yeah.
is my shit.
So here in Colorado, I open the window. I know I've said that a million times. It's a thing we can't escape as Coloradans. We try, but it sticks. It's the trope is true, and we hate it. I open my windows when I'm smoking because obviously, and it's fucking cold. It's like 12 degrees outside right now. So like, and I'm bald as
Hey,
fuck.
obviously, what does obviously mean?
And which in regards to what? Because I talked really fast and forgot.
You said you were smoking, so you had the windows open, because obviously.
Oh, because I don't live in a house by myself. I live in an apartment building, and I don't want to inconvenience my neighbors by sending shit through like the vents and shit, right? Like I have central air, so it's not necessary. Like HVAC wise, it would take a lot for that to happen. But if I
Like,
open the windows, it gets a little cold in here, makes warm air inside, and physics does the rest with the cold air outside, but also pushes.
cigarette smoking, yeah, that shit would stain the walls. You have to
Right.
te
And that's
peel
different.
them
Well,
off.
I mean, honestly, I do. Because I smoke in the house, I do wipe down the walls, and there's a small amount of residue, but not nearly as much as smoking. Right? Like not nearly as much. And that's only if I smoke a lot of joints, and it's probably the fumes from the papers. Same thing that lends to part of the cigarette too. I just dropped my Xbox controller off my couch and almost caught it with my foot and didn't. So anyway, but when I'm
That was
smoking
crazy.
like dabs,
All of it just, "Whoa!" And it's like,
yeah,
"Cool."
yeah. No, no, nope. When I'm smoking like dabs or out of the bong or something, I don't have, even when I wipe down the walls, there's not shit on them, right? So it's the paper, but yeah, man. So that's why I say obviously is because I guess that wasn't that obvious if I had to spend 2.5 minutes explaining it. So my bad. My
No,
bad.
no, it's cool. I just was kinda trying to clarify.
Well, so let's do this because I don't want to keep you for too much longer. I've already kept you a whole ass hour, and I do this. I've done this with every guest so far. As I say, hey, can I have 2 hours of your time? And then end up robbing them of so much more. It's all part of my vile plan. But
I like it.
let's do this. Let's draw up a conclusion for our weed and streaming. So have we concluded? And I use we, but I'm asking your permission with the sentence here to say that we need a lot more clarity on what you can and can't do in regards to streaming and weed.
Absolutely. Well, just not even more clear, like, because um, we have a paragraph, I guess. I guess we could even look up the paragraph at one point. But it's not, there is too much of a gray area where it'd be nice if we had it as black and white, where we knew, just like with anything, what was gonna happen with it. Like with any, like they actually clarified with the nudity issue that we've been having on things, when we have games like the new Cyberpunk, that you're making a character and his dong's out when he's hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
they say, hey, if it's part of character creation, or if you're doing a
Sure,
story
but
and natural nudity
yeah,
occurs, you can deal with it. But if you sit there and deal with, like, focus on it an obscene amount and make your content about this guy's package or about these people fucking it, yeah, that's gonna be a problem. But they're not having an issue with butt, and every time I've ever streamed and butt, boobs, dick, something
mm-hmm.
comes across, somebody will go, TOS, TOS. And I'm just like,
Right. Well, it's yeah. That's
every
the next thing is
time
it's become kind of a meme, hasn't it? The
out,
TOS.
every time.
It's like it's a whole ass fucking meme now. The
Yep.
TOS, like you're saying. Yeah, that's a good point, man. That is a good fucking point. The
So I think if we had a little bit more clarity with what would happen when you and I toked up, it would give us a lot more confidence when
That's
we
true.
were doing so.
That's true. So as synopsis, we need more clarity as specifically Twitch streamers. I mean, and I would say I haven't seen a lot of clarity on other platforms either. So I think just in generally speaking, generally speaking, I think that content creators need more
Just the
clarity.
streaming platform in general, I
Yeah,
guess,
need more
more
clarity.
just another rewrite on what exactly is the guidelines of a 2021 content creator.
Sure, sure. Well, and then just to tie into what we were talking about earlier, we also see folks who are following the rules and still getting fucking nasty emails like music and video games.
Still
You
see
know what I mean?
people
Yeah. Well,
humming a fucking
so
tune or other weird things all the time. Yep.
do you
And then
think
not. So not
right?
sure what the
Right? Are they even well equipped enough to audit and moderate the content, the massive amount?
as
I mean, I think
far
that the
as I heard,
DMC
they said they had 2,000 employees last they said,
dedicated to
ranging
watching content.
across salesmen and law enforcement and lawyer, like literally every facet is 2,000 monitoring the things. I don't think that's enough.
I
Do
don't
you know how many
either.
cameras there? You know, if there's
No.
no. I don't know if
I
that's
think
not.
that
I
they
just
have
think that's
2,000 people monitoring the logs of the
a
bots
lot.
that they have doing it. Is what they're trying to say,
Yeah,
right? Like,
that can't incorporate all the sub, because
no,
that's not gonna be enough.
no, especially because, like we said, every person's starting to have a Twitch stream. We're talking about millions of Twitch streams live. Imagine their fucking data use bills, right?
That means
Like,
it means me, you, and what, 100,000 people each get
mm-hmm,
one representative. Like
mm-hmm,
that makes me feel great.
right. Right. So like, and they don't make monitors big enough, homie. So clearly, you're just making them like they have flags set up that if your stream hits a flag, they review the flag. I mean, like that's 100% how
Well,
QA shit
they
works, right?
all
Like,
they said, "Please flag it." They were like, "Oh,
right.
yes, we'll see it if you flag it,"
Right,
basically.
right,
Flag
and so well, and then that talks into the problem that
flag it.
content creators are having of mass reporting, right? Like the mass reporting bombs. If somebody doesn't like you, they'll go pay some fucking nerd to write a program. I say nerd as I work in IT, right? They'll pay some fucking nerd to write a program that fucking mass reports your goddamn channel or some shit. Like, yeah, man. So I think that we just need more clarity. I do you think that that all of this is going to become no longer a problem when they end federal marijuana prohibition? Because I think that within 4 years, I think that weed will be federally legal.
See, this would be a funny thing to look back on as like a time capsule
Yeah,
in
it
like
would.
5 years
That's
and
true.
see if we're laughing at ourselves and going, "Look at the dumbasses we see." Just like we were talking about
If
having
we
like
even have the internet from our
or
labor
yeah,
camp, yeah,
it's if Twitch is still a thing, like just where we are in just the streaming world. But I would like to think, if anything, we're gonna be way more open on just awareness. We're gonna desensitize us from thinking that it's so criminalized
that's
and that
true.
it's such an issue. I don't want it to necessarily say that it's going to be started at a young age or like hyped to children, because Twitch is still, I would say, a younger platform.
Oh,
But
for sure.
there's like me and you have older communities. There's such an older community that we have blue collar people that live blue collar that just want to fucking relax at the end of their day and have figured out a way to self medicate. And you're saying we can't fucking do that together? I don't think so. I don't think we're doing
Right,
anything wrong. As far as everything I'm reading, it doesn't look like it. And if it could
right,
be that much cleaner and open in 2 years that we're all just chilling and having it even easier,
right.
yeah,
I mean, there's streams. Okay, so for example, there's streams of folks who, like, every time they win, they pound a white claw, right? And folks
right.
don't TOS them. They don't give them the TOS. Nobody gives a shit because they're
Yep,
drink. I think you're right. I think that we in a few years will be at that point where
right.
nobody gives a shit if I just, hey, what do you like? Instead of saying, oh my god, is that a joint? They'll be like, yo, what's in the J, right? Yeah, I don't know. I hope so. Well, and I think that that comes back to what we started the stream with, in that I think more people should try um, or at least open their mind towards marijuana, if not to try it, then to actually not put as many harsh judgments on weed and people who smoke weed, right? Like at least start to question the things that you think you know about it. I there are people I know. Real hot take here, which I guess Sunday tea is for. But I think that my mom would fucking benefit greatly from just eating some fucking edibles, right? Like just with the things that she deals with in her life, I think that it would, especially for what it's done for me, change her fucking life around in a fucking instant. I think it would miraculously lend to her happiness. And there are other people I know who would really benefit from trying weed that won't, because they're in the same mindset that we talked about in terms of the whole Southern Baptist for me, but other people. So I would say I would ask folks, especially as we start to break the stigma by having a whole ass talk show about smoking weed. But as many other people start to break the stigma about smoking weed, maybe start to question your own take on it. Maybe you know what I mean. I don't know,
Right.
but do you ever run into the person? And I'm being a bit of a judgy bitch here, so I admit that up front. But do you ever run into the person who, like, you're like, hey, do you smoke weed? And they're like, no, I'm allergic. And I do recognize that people out there are allergic to weed, but you can tell that they're not allergic. They just don't like the feeling of being high, or they had a bad experience and they're fucking tired of explaining it to stoners who won't stop asking them to smoke weed. So they
Hmm.
give them like a one time thing. And you're like, dude, I know that's bullshit. But also, you really wish that that person would give it another chance in the right environment if it's one of those situations where it was a bad experience, because you think it could really help that person. You're like, holy shit, bro. Like, I don't envy the position that you're stuck in because I was there 3 years ago.
It depends on the person. Like I would just I have people where I try not to like I don't like to force anything on anybody, but
Fair. Yeah.
I really enjoy, and I'm not sure if everybody, I really enjoy getting other people high
Yeah, me
because it
too.
does break down barriers and you can see it and they're just like, dude, this feels good. And especially someone that's
Right.
like that's either never gotten high or thinks it's bad and they're just like, dude, this is crazy. But even just my regular smokers is like, dude, this is some good shit. Like it's a nice little pleasure. I get to give that to them. I get to give them relief from life
Right.
for a couple hours. How great is that?
That's
Fucking who
like the
doesn't want to
greatest
do
gift.
that?
Yeah, you could give somebody
Yeah.
peace. Okay, well, how many times have you asked a person if you could give somebody a gift, what would it be? And in one way or the other, they indirectly or directly say, I would give X person this peace of mind. How many times? I would buy my mom a house. I would get my dad his dream car. I would
In some form.
blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah. I would give somebody some sort of peace of mind or happiness. That's kind of that's what it feels like when you introduce somebody to weed or you help them question those boundaries, and then they do discover like something that really helps them. Because, like I said in the beginning of the stream, I don't believe in like the old snake oil fixes of time. Like this is a miracle drug that will fix everything, but it did fix a lot, or it helped me be able to fix a lot of the shit that I was going through in my life, and I really and I relate to folks who are going through similar shit and wish that that were also an option for them, you know?
Very much. Yeah. I think it could also, yeah, fix a lot of things. It is a universal healer, but it's like there's so many things that I think people don't get a chance for. But I agree, it is not for everybody. There are people that it is not for. They
Fair,
are allergic to it. It doesn't make them feel good. It makes them sick. It's just
right?
it doesn't make them who it
It's
is.
not for them. Yeah.
But there are people that it is.
Yeah.
I am
What?
curious if anybody has questions in chat
Yeah.
before we wrap up. Would
That's a
probably be the best
fantastic,
way to end
fantastic
the
point.
segment.
Fantastic. I would love to hear the
But I
questions.
do have one more question for you as the last one
I would love that,
is,
man.
um, what is your favorite game to smoke to? Is it definitely Guild Wars? Like, is that your
Dude,
like,
that's such a hard
because
question.
I find like it's hard to play a new game stoned. I
Okay.
can go autopilot on an old game, no problem, but to figure
Sure.
out new buttons and all that stoned is like a little overwhelming sometimes, but
Yeah, I get that.
I'm I'm curious.
That's a fantastic and also extremely difficult question because for me, it's more of a every single game I play, being stoned brings a different aspect of enjoyment to it, right? So for new games, it allows me to operate with an optimism to overcome obstacles. Like for instance, when I played Horizon Zero Dawn for the first time, I played it on the hardest difficulty. I like it, this favorite game of all time, but it's really fucking hard. So when I was stoned, every time I died or got trampled or something, like or Dark Souls, for example, infamously difficult game. When I'm playing one of those really tough games, it really gives me the optimism to laugh through the failures and to learn from the failures. But when there are games that are just grindy, like Guild Wars 2 for me, there is a sense of joy. It's kind of the same thing.
It
Like
makes the grind easier, so to
yes,
speak, right?
yes, and specifically where the grind fails or it doesn't provide what I had hoped for initially, it allows me the grace to move past it, right? So there's not even really just oh, you know what? I take it all back. This is all true. Everything I said is true, but there's one game I do prefer to play stoned more than any other game, and that's fucking Rock Band.
Ooh.
Rock Band. I do love the rhythm games and I can shred on the guitar, but Rock Band drums specifically, getting stoned and just going, especially when you get those fancy, like, you remember when Guitar Hero World Tour came out? I think that was during your hibernation. 2013? There was a Guitar Hero that
Yeah,
came out
I
where
was
there
going.
were 3 drums and 2 cymbals. There were 5 drums. So sans one tom, it was pretty close to an actual drum set, and the songs did a pretty good fucking job at encapsulating the strikes that it takes to make the sounds that drums make. They did a from somebody who played drums in high school, right? Like they did a great fucking job. So getting
Right.
super blitzed out of my mind and playing Rock Band or Guitar Hero drums is second to none. It's but all games I enjoy playing stoned. They all have their own benefits. Yeah. What about you?
Um, well, I'm gonna spider web back real quick. We were talking about how smoking wasn't for everybody, and we were talking a little bit earlier. That thing I was referring to, it's this thing called cannabinoid hypermesis, and it's actually nausea from prolonged cannabis use, which actually just dries
I
out
heard
for
about that.
like 24 hour, 48 hours. But it
Yeah,
is something that people are starting to become a little bit more aware to, because there are people
because
out
they're
there
smoking
that
more.
are smoking just way too much. Like
Right.
I'm sick, and usually sometimes I get it from stopping, but there are people that are actually smoking themselves and actually getting sick from it. So
Well, and
um,
that lends to
just
we just don't
listen to
know
your
enough
bodies,
about
y'all.
weed in
Be
general,
smart.
do we?
Right.
Like
And just like
so.
we really, you
Oh,
have to be.
ooh.
It's really a self medication at this point where you have to really regulate yourself. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we might be leaving the show with more questions than answers because
Always.
that poses the question, is it fair for us to judge Twitch for not having clarity on weed when we don't even have a full understanding of weed or its effects?
Um, to a point, they should go off of what I guess if they're going off the criminal aspect would be say we can't do it, but if
Oh
we're
my God, is that why they
drinking
call it
in
nix?
other aspects,
So I'm sorry to
I
interrupt,
don't
but have
know.
you ever heard it called nixing? Like I'm gonna nix that idea or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think it's in reference to Nixon saying no more drugs for anybody? All fun is dead as of this point forward.
Oh, I'm sure you could look that up, but that'd be interesting.
Oh, all right. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh,
I
I'm
just
gonna
popped into
start
my head. I
talking to
didn't
my
want to
friend
forget it.
Nix a whole different way, though. That's
Oh
interesting.
yeah, I didn't
Nix.
even think
All
about that.
right.
Sorry, Nix. Hashtag rebranding. Sorry. So to go back to what you were talking about in terms of drinking and smoking, I'm sorry.
Nixon. Wait, what? I was talking about Nixon. No, that was about it. That was pretty good. But as far as games,
That's my bad.
best game would be probably right now, definitely Dead by Daylight, just because it's like this is probably the game I play the most smoking, because it's like a competitive game that you can kind of have the ups and downs with. So with
Okay.
smoking, it makes the highs high and the lows. So,
I think your mic might have cut out when you said the game. What game was it? Or I wasn't listening.
Dead by Daylight.
Okay, good. Okay, I thought so.
Yeah.
Well, and I
Yeah,
and
not any of the new games like starting them off. They're just there's too much to take in at once, where
yeah,
it's
I
almost
watched
like
you watching the
overwhelming.
Bound for Blood. Is that what it's called? The
Back for Blood.
yeah. You having fun with that?
Yeah,
Looks like y'all are having a good time.
it's not worth the $60 price tag, at least at this
No.
point, dude. If they made it like $20, $40, that game's gonna sell. But I haven't seen the PvP aspect of it, and that's always where those kind of games have replayability.
Okay.
These
Okay.
campaigns right now are
So
it's
that
either
game stoned? You don't play that game stoned?
I did, dude. I play every game stoned.
Fair. Okay.
But some games are more enjoyable autopilot
I
and
see what you
easier
mean.
than
I
others.
see what you mean.
Absolutely.
I see
Like the
what you mean.
best game to play is like Subnautica, something which is like an
Oh, I
open
bet that would
sea, and you're
scare.
just like,
That would
dude,
scare
I'm
me
in a
to.
fucking fish tank. Oh yeah, that's the shit.
Yeah, I'm claustrophobic, so like those kinds of games where like there's this huge expanse outside and I'm stuck in this tiny little capsule inside freaks me the fuck out.
Yeah, that's
And
kinda
like,
funny.
and it does scare me when I've watched people streams where I've straight yeeked and closed it, where they were in Subnautica on the bottom of the ocean, and this big fucking monster swims over them. I got chills
Uh-huh.
down my spine and just shut my laptop. I
Yep.
just shut my laptop.
Yeah, I don't watch jump scare streams. Those are my shit. Nope.
No, but no, that's cool, man. That's cool. Well, um, questions. Let's pop back to chat because we asked chat if they had any questions. Let's
I
see
think chat
here.
has questions.
Chat doesn't have any questions.
I think they're jump scared out. Weed chatted out.
I know, bro. They're like, holy shit, these dudes have been talking for
It's like,
3
these
hours
guys didn't
straight.
shut up, dude. We're
Holy
gonna let them go.
fuck. Well, so question for you is it? How do you feel? Do you feel at the end of this that you thought you would going into it afterwards? Did that make any sense?
Yeah, like losing my virginity, it was really overhyped, and I'm a little let down.
Oh,
But you know what? I feel
I didn't even know. I said it 2 times. That's well, you know.
it was all right. I'm not that bad. It was pretty good.
Well, you know, I'm pretty infamous for that in my friends circle. So welcome to my inner friend circle. The most recent thing that I've overhyped for a massive amount of people was apparently Letterkenny, the show Letterkenny. And so if that's happened to you in regards to me, then I guess that just means that we're that much closer as friends.
Dude,
that
we were
that I've
bonded,
just let
man.
you
We
down.
were feeling it. No,
Yeah.
I actually had a fantastic time, man. It was a lot of fun. I learned a little bit more about you than I was expecting, and that was actually I didn't. I
Is
guess
that a bad thing? My bad, dude.
at one point I felt like I couldn't ask you questions, where I wanted to ask you questions more, but I was like, all right,
Well,
I'm not
fuck,
sure exactly
dude.
if I'm
What are
supposed
you
to be
doing?
listening
I got time, bro. Do you want
or
to ask
not.
those questions?
You never told me how you started streaming, so that's basically the only thing I was curious about. Is you
Okay.
never actually told me why you told me you started smoking, but you never told me why you started.
Streaming, just
Yeah.
streaming and smoking, or just streaming in general?
Just like, why did you start streaming?
Yeah.
Why did you start
So
creating content in general? Like, why
I
are
see.
you
I see.
creating? I see why
Good
you're
question.
creating the
Good
Sunday
question.
tea, but why are you creating content for
That's a
us?
good question. So when I worked at
I just have
GameStop,
never known that. And again, with like your chat, I never get that opportunity to ask, so I'm curious.
that's a fantastic question. So for me, it stemmed from GameStop. When I worked at GameStop, one of the upsides of that job was the regulars and some of them sucked, but like a lot of them are really cool. And me, I think that all right, we're going to dig a little deep here because you asked, and I believe in honesty. I think originally, as I was a kid, I was one of those, like I said earlier, babysat by video games kids. So anytime there was a situation where there was attention to be had, it was a, hey, check out my attention. Check out what I can do to encapsulate your attention. Please provide me validation through your adoration, right? So I think that when I worked at GameStop and a lot of the other jobs I had, growing up, I always got that fulfillment through being a hard worker and by doing jobs the right way, because apparently that's pretty rare. And that gave me that sort of validation. Well, I was at GameStop, I got that validation through building that bond with the customers. So when the stress of that job kind of overcame me and I quit that job and went back to school, while I was in school, this was right after the Twitch Justin TV to Twitch merger, where, and there was, to, because you said, you mentioned you kind of missed out on that transition, there was a really big shift in availability and marketing for Twitch. The content creators did go from this is kind of our thing to, hey, this can be everybody's thing, and it became more known when people realized that this was a revenue source as well for some folks. That it skyrocketed in popularity, and I kind of jumped on to that train, but with not as much enthusiasm as I have for it now, and not as much knowledge as I have for it now. And this also coincided with the time where I began my game design degree. Knowledge and my specialization was in community management. So I took that validation from GameStop that I wasn't getting when I was going to school, because it's teachers, you pay teachers to say, hey, you did the thing right, good job, or hey, you suck at this thing, do better. So it wasn't that validation didn't necessarily come from there, but I started to get a little bit of traction on I just started streaming, and it was under the name Bowborne. I'm not going to tell you all what the name is because I'm not going to let you Google that. But it was under one of those, good luck, bro, good luck. If one of my IRL friends spills that, I will ban you immediately. I'm not kidding. That's a whole other episode about information security, right? So the point is I started streaming under an old Twitch name, and I started just putting out League of Legends content. Yeah, I know he probably fucking Iron Fletcher probably typed it and then deleted it when I said that. I bet you. So so I started streaming just as a way to kind of document the funny interactions I was having with players, because I wasn't getting that social fulfillment from my job or from anywhere else in life. I was married at the time, and still wasn't getting that, which is a whole other episode, maybe a love episode too. So I started playing video games, specifically multiplayer video games, League of Legends, World of Warcraft, the Call of Duty games that I had already been playing, but I had started being more social with the players in those games, and I had started like interacting with them in more and funny ways, or like trolling people, or like having
Being
genuine conversations.
sociable. I feel
Yes,
like you were
yes,
actually
in
doing
video
okay.
games, like reaching out to people, because everybody, you can see if you got a mic or not. So saying, instead of, hey, you got a mic, just like talking and promoting conversations, somebody will just pick up and start talking with you. You know what I mean? Bruh, I told you not to say what it was in chat. I'm going to go ahead and time you out. I'm just kidding. I'm not, because I don't want that joke to go away. But so I started being more sociable in games, and that created a lot more hilarious moments. And that's not me being arrogant. It's like, I'm so funny, I create such good content. It's more like there were a lot of instances where I ran into situations with other gamers, and the way that we interacted was fucking funny. And
Right.
I was reviewing, actually, when I rebranded the YouTube not too long ago for the show here. I was checking out old YouTube content that I had not listed and privately, and I was like, holy shit! Like, this content um, production sucks. These transitions are awful. This video editing's awful. I wasn't talking to the stream at all, but the content was like, just in core, it was funny to watch. So like, there was, that comes back to what you were saying. Your big tip is to just do the thing and get over your humps of not wanting to hear
You
your
can't
own
know if you're
voice, or
creating bad content if
if
you're
you
not
don't
creating
watch it.
content.
Right. And
Right.
if you don't
Yeah.
watch it, you need to watch it. And that will also give you the, oh, maybe I should do this. For instance, I found myself using a lot of filler words and not breathing a lot before a lot of sentences as I was editing these shows. And I still do that to an extent, but the extent as I'm editing, because I watch the footage, I can see myself doing it less and less. I can see myself pausing and taking a breath before I finish a sentence, which both helps me refocus and creates a gap for editing, right? It's a win-win. But the point is that I started doing the thing to document funny situations I had with other gamers, and then when I took that to kind of Guild Wars 2, that's where that started. And then the community kind of came when I was a Guild Wars 2 PvPer, which is already its own niche community. Very
You
like,
introduced me to that. You're the only
yeah,
person I watched that did Guild Wars TV, PvP. It was slightly interesting. I was like,
wow, that's really sweet
how
of
am
you
I
to say.
still
Thanks,
here
man.
that's watching? Like, I didn't know what the fuck was going on, but I was like, you're kicking ass, so I want to keep
Well,
watching.
I
I
appreciate
remember
that,
you
dude.
did this one thing, like we were in the water. You
Yeah.
kept pulling people in the water and trying to fight them, and then they would run away, and
Oh,
then you
that
guys
was
would
so
laugh your
funny.
ass off, and
That
then
was
I'm
funny.
like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm having a good time because you're having a good time.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a lot of
and
fun.
that's a beautiful way to word what I'm trying to say is that the situations that I would get into proved to be a bit entertaining, even if the game was meh. Or there's two kinds of streamers that are successful. There are entertainer streamers, or there are really fucking good streamers like pros at the game who don't talk or do anything, but just watching them play the game is interesting enough. Or the person is like me and mediocre at the game, but the shit that they do in the game is pretty funny, so it can be entertaining. But that's a beautiful example of that. And also that community has a problem with the PvPers not being the most positive folks out there, and it relates to what we talked about earlier, especially as it relates to smoking and finding the bright side in things. I found myself running into interactions with people who were less than pleasant, and then me taking that attitude to the sociability thing that I was telling you about and projecting that out into the game, and then creating a community based on people being like, holy shit, like I flamed this guy and he like didn't yell at me and like asked me what was wrong. That's fucking weird. Like, and then you know what I mean. People saw that on stream, and then people would pop in because of that. PvP community is very niche. It's very easy to find a channel in the
Right.
Guild Wars 2 stream category because there's a handful of them. So, but the people who watch Guild Wars 2 only want to watch Guild Wars 2, or at least a good chunk of them. So
Right.
so if their streamer goes, oh, and then I got a couple of hosts from a couple of really big Guild Wars 2 PvPers who are at that level where they don't talk much, or their streams are even entertaining muted, which is its own controversial subject, because their gameplay is so good. Who hosted me? Who like showed the community, hey, look, here's another PvPer. Ironically, that ended up catapulting me through their advice and through the optimism and willingness to accept criticism, drove me into the top 50 players for Guild Wars 2 PvP in North America, just based on those things combined. So it was kind of like one of those situations where we talked about where luck meets preparation, because I had already done all the branding of the stream, because I had seen other streamers who had those things, and I thought, hey, that would be fun for my stream. And it's just kind of a collection of things that I saw that I liked over X amount of years, you know what I mean? And then incorporated into my own, in my own way, something that feels true to my brand and the things that I have going, and then just did the thing. And then when I got the opportunities where bigger streamers came along and showed the community was like, wow, this guy's pretty cool, and I like the way he thinks about stuff. Also, he's got a cool Archer emote. I'll go ahead and follow and stay for a while, right? Like, so it was more of a like an outward expression that turned into something for me, versus I didn't really go into this with the idea of building a huge community, or I didn't. And don't get me wrong, I've been in the shoes before where it was like, hey, this can be a job and I can make money here, and like I've had the pressure of income put on me from Twitch, especially the first time you get an affiliate check, you're like, holy shit, this is a real thing. You get money from this? This just paid for like 6 days worth of McDonald's. Are you kidding me? And then like then it changed a little bit. It clicked. You're like, wow, there's an opportunity here, and that created a whole other pressure that came with it, right? That you just have to manage separately. Which lends back to the whole weed thing that we were talking about. Do you smoke or do you not smoke on stream, and why? And the whole ass thing. So yeah, to answer your question, in probably the longest winded answer I've ever given, mainly because I'm a social being who was deprived social situations and needed that out. That just kind of caught on. You know what I mean?
I love it.
Yeah. It was
Love it, bud.
that's why I said earlier that we could be some chatty bitches, because we be
Love it.
some chatty bitches. Well, so you mentioned you had a bunch of questions. Is that your biggest one, or you have more? I'd love, like I said, I got time.
Um, um, I put me on the spot and shit.
There's oftentimes where I have friends who, when I get onto those rants, they'll kind of check out for a minute, they'll step away from the conversation mentally, and you can see it in their
I
eyes.
had like a thought at the beginning.
And
I
then
swear.
one of my favorite things
It
to
was it
do,
was like it was a follow-up question, but then I lost it because
yes,
that's what
is
my
to
man
snap
had.
the conversation back as soon as I see the glaze leave their fucking eyes. So that's half on me, bro. We
You
call them,
mentioned something.
the Iron Fletcher said it in chat, but we call them brain flamingos when the flamingo just decides to look the other way, right? Like the thought just escapes you. Well, and we've had some people jump in from who weren't here when we asked the question. So if you want, we can use this as an opportunity to ask chat for questions while
Oh,
we.
I do have a dumb question.
Oh, hit me! I love dumb questions.
So we were talking like follow for follow or all that.
Sure.
Like if you were gonna like get a what do you feel about the people that are spending probably $300 on weed to smoke to probably make like $100 in revenue? Like that are just smoking way too much in general for the pressure of it, but not really able to financially keep up.
Well,
That can be a thing.
I think that in order to accurately answer the question, we'd have to have the data on what their income is, right? Because it probably has different impacts to different people. Maybe they can afford it outside of the stream thing, and
True, but
like,
imagine whatever you do, you're going to be doing more
sure,
because whether it be drinking or smoking or eating, whatever it is,
because
if
it's
you're doing
become
it
part of your brand.
socially,
Yeah.
because it's now part of your brand or now
Like we're
it's your
talking about with
thing.
gaming. Yeah. Well, and
Yeah,
I think that there's something to be said about the dangers of overuse with anything, not just weed, but particularly weed in this case. Sure, nobody's actually died from ODing, but like you said earlier, there are sicknesses that people have gotten from smoking too much. I'm sure that could
right.
probably play a factor. And then you're going to talk about like what if this person doesn't enjoy this thing anymore? What if they were smoking it for reasons I smoke it, to help with like anxiety and shit, and then now those benefits are no longer there because you've ventured into a realm of overuse, that now
Exactly,
you're
because
smoking and sad.
there is a whole dopamine fuck. We can only
Right.
go so far up before we got to
Right.
go down where
Right.
they're just pushing
Well,
themselves. A lot of us are
right.
really self-medicating for a reason,
And
whether it's
it's science.
depression,
Yes.
and then it's to like, oh, I did it for like 4 days and then they disappear for 3 days because they went off a spiral. It's like, oh shit, yeah, or they're fucking moody for 3 days. Yeah,
Yeah.
see,
Yeah.
it's
Well, and there's something to be said about just
it's all regulation and healthy use. You can
yes,
overuse and overdo anything. Of course, no
anything.
one's ODing and dying from it, but you
But that
can.
doesn't make it not like it doesn't make it
Exactly.
healthy, right? It's a huge impact on people's lives if it's not managed properly. Because who doesn't want to feel good? Who doesn't want to feel nice? Who doesn't want to make the bad thoughts go bye bye? Right? Like that's appealing for everybody. But at the same point, like so to answer your question succinctly, I think that it's dangerous. And I think, but on one hand, I think that it's dangerous to the person and to that person's brand, because if they suddenly hate doing that thing, then what are they going to do with what they've built, right? They're either going to
Right.
have to pivot or it's going to go.
Kind of like the streamer pitfall they have. They're both playing video games, killing their love of video games, and now you're doing the thing with streaming and
Right.
smoking, where you're gonna be offline and be like, I don't even want to fucking do
I
this.
don't want
It's
to,
like,
right. Right.
yeah,
Right. So it's dangerous because not only you can harm yourself like we talked about, but also you can burn yourself out on a passion or two. But I also, on the other hand, because you know me, I'm a both sides of the coin kind of person. I also say that if that's how that person wants to engage, and if it's fulfilling the needs that they've set for themselves, which even if we ask them, we might not actually know the answer to, then who gives a shit as long as they're not hurting anybody else, right?
as long as they're only gonna maintain for so long,
Right.
right? And they're not hurting
Or
anybody.
they'll set new world records, or they'll be like the most smokable person ever, like, or it will embolden their passion. Who's to say? Those are the things that pop into my mind if I think about me doing that, or other streamers that I know doing that. But if it works for them, it fucking works for them. That's a good question, man. Let's pop to chat, double check here.
Do you know how people played like the last political rounds they did Among Us?
Yeah,
And they
like
actually
AOC
did
playing.
shit for awareness.
Yeah,
How do you feel about like the high officials doing the same thing, talking about weed for all the people that don't have it, just
like
actually
so
figuring
like if
shit
they
out
go on to a
and
talk show
having a
like this.
platform where people will show up from their state and ask questions or whatever the fuck it is? That'd
Specifically
be
as it
fucking
relates to weed,
great.
Like so so
Just like
so let me give you a
like we did
scenario.
politics, but something like the weeds get like legalization is on the ballot. They can now go have a place to
Let's go spread some awareness. Like on Twitch maybe
on
even.
this platform
Okay.
to actually go to.
So
Yeah.
you're saying, like, just to give you a scenario to make sure I understand what you're saying. So like when AOC played Among Us with the big Among Us streamers, you're saying what if there was a politician who was lobbying for legalization of weed, who did like a talk show, like with us, for example, where we're all just smoking weed and talking about the law and as it pertains, and folks
Or
can pop in from chat.
or there's 7 different people, or it has 10 people from a thing, 10 different senators or 10 different people from different areas, all playing, discussing their views while playing the game,
Or in this case, while smoking weed.
or while some, or maybe not, maybe all, depending. Maybe there's some countering sides, but yeah, basically a healthy venue where everybody could get their ideas out. I think that'd be nice.
Yeah, I think
Well,
that would
kind
be
not
pretty
like a
cool. Yeah,
podcast
well,
where like,
I
but
think that I like the idea, Jupiter, where it's because Joe
semi.
Rogan does like entice guests to have conversation, but not like Joe Rogan in that he entices guests to have conversations just to like make fun of them or question their ideals or like, you know what I mean, like to extract entertainment from another person, but instead to raise awareness of an issue. I think that that's like a big distinction because I don't know about you, but I've not only seen that with Joe Rogan, but a lot of other podcasts who have guests, and that's something that I'm particularly trying to avoid. So if y'all see it, tell me. But is I don't want to extract entertainment from the folks that are here with me, right? And like I think that that's what that does. I think shows like that do that. But I think what X Ray is saying is more where people just have a collective platform to talk about their experiences with weed and provide a space where folks who want to know more about how it pertains to the issue at hand, in this case, the legalization of weed, or how, like X Ray said, it might apply to somebody's state, they have that platform to ask that person live, like right in front of them. That person can answer. I honestly, X-Ray, to answer your question, I think it's a fantastic idea because I think the one thing that
I
we've
think that'd
complained
be like
about.
the next step with where we're
Yes,
doing it, like
absolutely.
online and with live
Well,
content. With
there's a elected official here in Denver. I don't remember his full name, but I think his first name's Corey, and he's the first black elected official in the city, right? And he's like all over. He's made a bunch of TikToks, and he makes like a bunch of trend TikToks, and he streams on Twitch. I think where you're going, before I rudely cut you off, I'm sorry. I agree that it's the next big way to build relatability with your constituents because correct me if I'm wrong, but in my assumption, I think one of the biggest complaints we have about politicians is that they feel like I know I personally feel like they're out of touch, that they don't understand what's going on with the people in which they're tasked with making laws for, and instead are backed by special interests who only want to line their own pockets in a lot of cases. So I think that situations where people who are in those positions are giving themselves availability to their constituents like that, I think that that can only be positive. I think it can be negative because there are folks who are hateful who can jump on there, but I think that we are given sufficient tools to manage those things. You know what I mean? Well, I should say that. I shouldn't say that. I should say they are attempting to give us sufficient tools to manage those things. You know what I mean?
feel you.
Is that was what do you think about the politicians? It'd
No,
be
I think that'd be I really think that's just the next stage we need to go to actually get awareness and actually see people talking, because I thought it was a genius idea, but I haven't really seen it applied to just marijuana in general.
okay.
And letting
Uh,
people actually talk and have a venue where they can just openly talk about it.
yeah. Well, and I honestly think that we'll see more of those. And like you mentioned earlier, it's good that we're recording this so that we can have the document be known. On this day in 2020, we said this. But I think that
Yeah, I'm actually rolling up a bowl to toast it at the end. Yeah.
fuck yeah. I think that as we see more marijuana legalizations hit ballots, specifically, I think as we push to uh, end marijuana prohibition federally, I think that we will see exactly what you're talking about. I think that we will see more people talking about weed. Well, and if we know one thing, the marijuana industry has the money for advertising, right? Like, well, people they have millions of dollars stacked under mattresses and in safes and buried in concrete. Like they will give it to advertisers to say, "Hey, like Twitch, right? Hey, Twitch, you need a huge influx of money to solve the DMCA issue. Here's $54 million of weed money. Let me go ahead and put ads on all of your annoying fucking pre-rolls about how we should vote yes on to end federal marijuana prohibition because it helped Sally." with her fucking, I don't know, OCD. It's helped a lot of folks with OCD, for example, right? Like, so yeah, I think it's a good idea, and I think that we're going to see huge influx of it as time progresses, um, especially because the more and more awareness and destigmatization we do towards it, the more people try it and they're like, "Holy shit!" Exactly like we did. This ain't that bad. This is pretty dope. Like I'm liking this. Or there'll be folks who don't vibe well with it, but they'll understand that it's not to be feared. It's just a plant in the ground that makes you feel a little dizzy, right? Like one way or the other. I think that awareness is kind of only a good thing there. Federal Bank of Mattress. Yeah, says Otter in chat. I got distracted by the joke, Federal Bank and mattress. But yeah, no, I think that we're going to see a lot of that, and I think it's a good thing for now. I hope it stays a good thing, but we'll see. We'll fucking see.
Cool deal, man. Well, I gotta say, I've never done one of these before, so thanks for having me.
Sure, man.
It's been an experience. It's been a pleasure. It's been a privilege. I enjoyed it. As you can see, we've been ranting for a hot minute, but
Yeah, I do have a
I
tendency to
do,
go
do
over.
I will pack this one and say
Oh yeah, man. Cheers,
cheers
buddy.
to
I
like
cheers you. Pow. Boop.
just the amazing you. I want to say thank you so much, all of Bowborne's people and all the great people in the chat. Thank you, Bowborne himself, for just
Of
having me.
course.
He is a fantastic person. If you're not already checking him out, definitely drop this man some love
Hey, thanks, man.
and just give yourselves a pat on the back for being here and making it to the show. Love your faces. Means a
Right,
lot.
right. It's fun to have this conversation, but to be able to share it with the people that we already spend so much time with. So I'll fucking cheers to that, dude. Fuck yeah, dude. Well, I appreciate the kind words. Every time I tune in or every time I interact with you, they're always positive and amazing experiences. That's part of why I wanted to have you on the show, and I'm so grateful for you for making the time to be here. It means a lot to me.
It
We
was a
had
blast,
a
dude.
great conversation.
It was a blast.
Really, thanks for shouting it out to the community that you have. They're so great as they've shown today. I hope I see a lot of these faces back. You've really set really awesome precedent. I'm gonna give you one of those too, bro. But I'm gonna let you do the little trill at the end because that's your brand, not mine. I don't want to,
I don't know why I always do that. I don't
I
know what
love
the
it.
fuck
I
it
love
is,
it. I
dude.
love
What
it. But I
is
would
that?
fuck it up.
Okay,
I
so when
love
I
it.
used to smoke,
Yeah.
I used to do this every time for like a year just to piss people off. I don't know what it was. Every time I'd snap my elbow and they'd be like, "The fuck is that?" And I
Oh,
just
I
do
do
it to
that
piss
too.
them off.
Yeah.
And now I do it's every time. I do the little. I don't know what is. I don't know.
I like it, man. I think it's like we talked about earlier. You said you don't have a brand. I disagree. I think that's part of it. I love it every time I pop in there, either with a raid or a host or follow or even just a hello. You send one of those things. We smoke it up a little bit and we do the thing, bro. So that's
What you want,
exactly an
man?
example of what I'm talking about. Is I really, like I said, I appreciate you contributing to this project, but also just the content that you create in general is so wholesome and keep doing it, man. It sets a lot of precedence for me in terms of the content that I consume because I know what's possible for a person to have fun in a fucking game and I have to watch some dude be miserable on a fucking screen. It also sets precedence for me and goals on how I want to interact with my community and how I want to. I've definitely like stolen things from your stream or said things that you said, and they're all fucking clipped, I'm sure. But
Oh, I hope so. I'm gonna fucking get revenue from every single one of them,
yeah,
dude. Like
you
fucking
are.
10 cents here and
Well, I'll send it your way, man. Well, that's the thing too. I'm gonna go ahead and link your stream in chat. I'm just gonna spam it a bunch for those who maybe came in later or might have missed it. But yeah, I
dude, that's the
really, really
best part
appreciate it,
is
man.
going to other people's streams and finding something you like, and we're all really a byproduct of sampling this. And
Sure.
I have a couple original ideas, but oh yeah, that's really the fun part is
Well,
coming up,
that's
and
yeah,
we're never gonna be finished. We're never gonna get to a point. If we had such and such, or we hit this, we're always gonna be thinking of the next idea. And
right,
once you're done, we're done.
right. Well, and this show, this segment is a beautiful example of that, right? Like we've said, okay, we should wrap this up like I don't know 5 fucking times, and we just keep fucking rambling, and then when we're
Like
done,
stoners, we're
we'll be
having a
yes.
conversation
When
about
we're
weed.
done, we'll
What
be
else?
fucking done.
How
Yeah,
else are you gonna end the show, y'all?
right, right.
That's how we do it.
So in conclusion, I think that we're walking away with we need more definitive rules on cannabis consumption and content creation, just generally speaking, but also be true to yourself and create the content that you want to create and pivot when you encounter obstacles. How does that sound?
Dude, that's a book that I would fucking be happy to sign, dude. That's well put, man. That's well put. That's good synopsis.
All
I
right.
like it.
Thanks, man. Well, and it only took 3.5, what is it, through 2.5 hours? Almost
No,
three,
that
three
was
and a
like
half
three and a
hours.
half hours on the
Yeah.
dot, man. You crushed it. Thank
Yeah.
you so much,
Yeah, of
everybody.
course, man.
It's been great.
Hey, take it easy, man.
Appreciate you.
I'm going to go ahead and hang up on you now and then do a little bit of wrap up.
All
But
right,
I'll
man.
talk to you when I talk to you, man.
Bye, y'all. Been great.
See ya.
Appreciate it.
Give him the
Later.
wiggle. Yeah. X-ray _ blacksmith, everybody. See you, buddy.
Love you, Bowborne. Peace.
Love you, man. Bah. Well,
Hell yeah, man.
everybody, that was X-ray _ blacksmith. I spammed the fuck out of his channel. If you haven't followed that man, please do so. As you can tell, excellent conversationalist, overall wonderful human being. I'm glad that we took this time to kind of get to know each other. You know, I do get a little bit rambly, but y'all knew that already. And for those of you who didn't know that already, welcome to the show. That's what you have to expect. X-Ray, I hope I gave you enough time to talk. If not, let me know. We'll do another one because it was lovely having you on. And I would love to see it happen again in the future. Everybody who stopped by and chat, thank you so much. This was an incredible, incredible time. As always, like we talked about with X-Ray Blacksmith, y'all being here is part of what makes this so special. Y'all being here is what helps us fuel this forward. It's the reward for us. It's for me, it's the interaction. I get to spend time with the people I love, Bruff, Otter, X-Ray. Now there's new people I love, Nyx, Jupiter, all of these folks hanging out in chat, stopping by, spending some time with us on a nice, cool Sunday morning, smoking the weed. So that's going to be it for us today. I appreciate all of y'all's time. It was absolutely wonderful. I'm glad that you liked it. Nyx, that means a lot to me. Thank you for the kind words. Bruff, I love you too, man. Otter says she's been on WebEx too much. Just wave bye at my screen like you could see me. Well, I'll wave bye back. Bye, Otter. Wholesome. Thanks, Otter. Yeah, let's get some X-Ray love in chat. If y'all aren't subbed to X-Ray, there's only one way to solve that problem, and I fully endorse it. I love y'all. I appreciate you. I hope y'all have a fantastic rest. Oh, you know what? I want to go through the list here of follows and subs that we got. I feel like that's important to highlight how well y'all show support. And it's a good time for it. And then we'll do an outro, and then I'll let y'all go. If y'all have had enough, you're only here for the show. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next week at 11 a.m. till God knows when, apparently. I'm actually going to put that on the schedule, 11 a.m. till God knows when. So to start with, Otter, resubscribe for 22 months. Holy shit, Otter, thank you so much. Remind me, and we'll shoot an arrow for you. Bruff just now dropped 25 bits. Thank you so much for that love, Bruff. Appreciate it. Garu followed. Welcome, Garu Lady, to the Archers. It's great having you here. Nyx, you also followed. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the Archers. We got Thioms. I asked that dude. I raid with him in WoW. I ask him all the time, how do I say your name? And then he tells me politely, and then I forget immediately. So thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the Archers. Fucking Iron Fletcher resubbed for 3 months. Dude, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Fuck yeah. We'll shoot an arrow for you too when I get that whole thing up and running. When I do. Bruff resubbed again for 10 months, tier 2, my first tier 2 ever. Thank you so much, Bruff. That's fucking awesome. Jupiter followed. Welcome to the fucking Archers. Look at all that love. That was so much talking. I appreciate y'all so much. Holy shit. All right, everybody. Well, that's going to be it for today. That was a lovely episode 4 of Sunday Tea with Bowborne and the Archers. It only took us halfway through the stream and a very polite nudge from our buddy X-Ray to change the stream title, so I'm glad that we did that. Please make sure that y'all join us next week, again at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Let's see what the topic's going to be. Let's take a little peeksy-doozle at the spreadsheet here, all right? Let's see if I got a scene for this. Oh, man, that's just for you. That's for both of us. I think I can do a screen capture. Pow! Solving problems. So next week, this is going to be a good episode. Next week, we're going to talk about physicality and how it affects us. I also want to talk about how it affects us in content creation, so y'all remember that. We have a wonderful guest on next week, Romelia Claymore. She's over on Instagram, and that link is on the spreadsheet here, which I will give y'all a link to. Make sure you follow that if you want the updates. If you have suggestions, email me. I'm going to be putting a lot more topics up. I have a shit ton of them written down, as you can see here. Boom. So we are going to be putting a lot more slots on here for folks to jump in. So next week is going to be physicality, excuse me, and how it affects us, how it affects our relationships. It's going to be hell of a show. I don't know, X-Ray, if you missed the love show, it was pretty good. Our guest was Bad Wolf Handmade. Both the abridged version and the full version available on YouTube. Shameless plug. Let me see if I can get that going. The YouTube. I'll give you all a link to that. But the episodes prior of Sunday Tea with Bowborne and the Archers can be found on YouTube. Link right here. I have to watch the whole thing. It was pretty good. Oh yeah, you said you watched a bit. I do remember you saying that. So yeah, y'all, that's the show. I appreciate all the support. I had a great time. I'm not going to drone on and on about that. Again, make sure that you join us next week. Again, not going to drone on and on about that. I will see you all then. But until then, please, nope, not that one. Nailed it. Have a fantastic week. I want you to just take this energy throughout the rest of the week. Have a good fucking time with it, all right? Until then, see you later. We should come up with a catchphrase. Maybe we should just start just cutting out the stream mid-sentence. That would be a good part of the brand. I feel like that would